Chapter 1747. Mobilize people. Yang Ming said disapprovingly, "No need. I appreciate your kindness, but I will handle it myself." Yang Ming naturally understood Batterton's thoughts. If Batterton didn't have Kaik's support behind him, he wouldn't have said these words. But in contrast, Kaik understood Yang Ming's strength. He also knew that Yang Ming didn't need his help at all. His purpose in doing this was just to show goodwill. Well, then what should I do now? Batterton didn't know why Yang Ming was so careless. The Nanqing casino was not weak. Even if he mobilized people, he might not be his opponent. Could Yang Ming deal with Govasik by himself? In fact, if possible, Batterton didn't want to offend Govasik because Govasik's power in Las Vegas was obviously greater than the Douglas Vast Hotel. Batterton didn't want to provoke him. Now that Yang Ming didn't want him to participate, it was clear that he was excluding him. No matter what the outcome of the matter was, it had nothing to do with him. Thinking of this, Batterton was very grateful. He felt that Yang Ming was a good person. At least, he was very tolerant. "Who called you? Go and call him back. Tell him that 3 hours have passed and there are still 21 hours left. Ask their family master to come and see me within 21 hours. Otherwise, he will bear the consequences," Yang Ming said to Batterton. Batterton was stunned after hearing Yang Ming's words. "You don't have to worry about him targeting you. Just say that you came to me and I asked you to pass on these words," said Yang Ming. "Mr. Yang, I'm not afraid of him. Although our Douglas family is not as powerful as the Nanqing family in Las Vegas, you will definitely anger him if you say this." Batterton expressed his concern tactfully. "Mr. Yang, although I don't know how good your skills are, there is a saying that goes, outnumbered is outnumbered. You are alone, and there are so many of them. I'm afraid that something will happen." It's fine. Just do as I say." Yang Ming naturally knew that Batterton was doing this out of good intentions and not because he was looking down on him. However, Yang Ming had his own plans for Yang Ming. Seeing Yang Ming's firm attitude, Batterton had no choice but to agree and put down the phone. Batterton hesitated for a moment and decided to call the family head, Kaik. Although Kaik had said before that he would be fully responsible for the matters here, Yang Ming didn't need his help at all. If something happened to Yang Ming, he couldn't explain it to the family master. Therefore, after weighing the pros and cons, Batterton decided to call Kaik and report what had happened here. "Hello. Batterton, how is it?" Kaik saw that it was Batterton calling and answered without hesitation. "Patriarch, I have something to report to you." Batterton said carefully, "It's like this. Mr. Yang said that he didn't need any help from me. Instead, he asked me to pass a message to Govasik." "What message?" asked Kaik. Kaik had already expected that Yang Ming didn't need his help. If Yang Ming wanted to destroy the Douglas family, it would be a matter of seconds. Why would he need his help? It was good enough that Kaik didn't find it troublesome. "Mr. Yang asked me to tell Govasik to let their family master come to see Mr. Yang within 24 hours. Otherwise, they will bear the consequences," said Batterton. "Oh. Really? Ha 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 ha." Kaik couldn't help but laugh after hearing it. "Patriarch, what are you laughing at?" Batterton was a little puzzled. "Isn't Mr. Yang a friend of the Patriarch? Why is the Patriarch laughing at Mr. Yang?" In fact, Kaik was indeed laughing, but he wasn't laughing at Yang Ming. He was laughing at the Nanqing family. The Nanqing family is going to be destroyed. The funny thing is that those fools don't even know what kind of person they have offended. It's really pitiful and sad. Kaik sighed. "If it were me, I wouldn't even have time to apologize. How would I dare to send people to provoke them? There's nothing I can do about people whose brains are squeezed by the door. Patriarch, what are you talking about? Batterton was puzzled by Kayik's words. Nothing. It's just that the Nanching family is going to be finished. You don't have to care so much. Just do what Mr. Yang says. Instructed Kayik. Yes, Patriarch. I understand. After Batterton got Kayik's affirmative answer, he dared to do it boldly. Kayik hung up Batterton's phone call and smiled at several family elders on the side. I don't know how the Nanching family provoked Yang Ming. They are probably going to be finished soon. Really? That's really good news. One of the elders heard Kayik's words and immediately laughed happily. His grandson once had a conflict with a child of the Nanching family. As a result, because the Nanching family was powerful, the elder had no choice but to take his grandson to apologize and pay a large sum of money to settle the matter. While teaching his grandson a lesson, the elder also hated the Nanching family. Now that he heard that the Nanching family had provoked Yang Ming, he was extremely happy. God is really fair. Although I can't afford to provoke the Nanching family, someone can. Moreover, it's someone who can be provoked. This Nanching family is probably going to be finished. The other elders naturally knew the grudge between this laughing elder and the Nanching family, so they also laughed. After all, the Nanching family and the Douglas family had a lot of business dealings, and there was a competitive relationship between them. Now that the Nanching family was finished, they were naturally one of the beneficiaries. Patriarch, I think we should maintain a good relationship with Mr. Yang. Then, if any family dares to provoke us in the future, we can use Mr. Yang's name. Suggested an elder. Don't talk nonsense. Kai glared at him. Do you think Mr. Yang is someone who will be a thug for others? Don't be whimsical. It will only cause unnecessary trouble. When the elder heard what Kaik said, he felt that it was right. If Yang Ming knew that these people wanted to use Yang Ming's name to teach others a lesson, he would definitely be the first to settle accounts with his family. Patriarch, I'm just saying it casually. The elder quickly shut up. Well, our relationship with Mr. Yang is quite good now. Although there were misunderstandings in the past, I have contacted Mr. Yang several times and given him some benefits. I can see that Mr. Yang is not the kind of person who takes benefits for free. Kaik said, for example, in Batterton's case this time, Mr. Yang didn't kill them all. Instead, he gave Batterton face. In fact, this face is also given to our Douglas family. At least our relationship is harmonious now. This is enough. Kaik's words made all the elders nod in agreement. After Batterton hung up the phone call with Kaik, he called Govasik. Mr. Batterton, how is it? Is there any news? Is that person staying in your hotel? Govasik had been waiting for Batterton's reply. He had already contacted the Guillotine Gang's boss. He would send a team of people to arrest Yang Ming in a while. In fact, the Guillotine Gang's boss was just a spokesperson for Govasik. It was just that Govasik was hiding behind the scenes. Mr. Govasik. Batterton smiled bitterly. I was just about to talk to you about this. After my investigation, the Yang Ming you mentioned is indeed staying in our hotel. I was afraid that he would run away, so I sent people to surround his room first. However, he seemed to know my intentions and told me that he wouldn't run away at all. He also asked me to tell you that there are only 21 hours left in the 24 hours. He asked your Nanching family's family master to come to the hotel to see him within 21 hours. Otherwise, you will bear the consequences. Batterton was afraid that Govasik would interrupt, so he finished his words in one breath. He had already made up a reason before. Otherwise, it would be a bit abrupt to say that he was passing a message to Yang Ming, so he used the previous excuse. Chapter 1748. This kid's tone is really big, huh? Govesick listened to Batterton's words, but he didn't care because Smith had already said something similar when he reported to him before. So, Govesick was a little accustomed to hearing it for the second time. As for Batterton's previous lame reasons, Govesick didn't think much about it, so he didn't doubt it. Yeah, that's what he said. He also told me not to meddle in other people's business. Otherwise, he won't be polite to me. Batterton smiled bitterly. Mr. Govesick, you also know that I'm in the hotel business. Naturally, I'm not very strong. I don't dare to offend such a person. And, I got it. In that case, you don't have to worry about it. I'll deal with him, said Govesick. Okay, I was afraid that he would trouble me, so I changed him to the luxurious VIP room on the top floor. When you come, you can find him. Batterton said, he's in private room number 1. And, I got it. Govesick found it funny in his heart. Isn't this Batterton too cowardly? He is scared to this extent with just a few words. Not only did he not dare to meddle, but he also changed him to the best private room. Well, I won't intervene in this matter. Batterton expressed his attitude. Govesick thought, I told you not to intervene. Since you don't care about your hotel, I can go and cause trouble with confidence. After hanging up the phone, Govesick dialed the number of the Guillotine Gang's boss, Headless Wolf. This Headless Wolf was just a nickname. He was an Indian who was usually in charge of the daily affairs of the Guillotine Gang. He was actually Govesick's spokesperson. Headless Wolf, immediately send someone to the Douglas Vast Hotel and catch Yang Ming for me, Govesick instructed. In his opinion, this matter was simply a piece of cake. Yes, Mr. Govesick. Headless Wolf was very respectful to Govesick. Although the Guillotine Gang had a great income, as a new gang, they were constantly recruiting. How could that great income be enough? If it wasn't for Govesick's support, they would have been swallowed up by other gangs. Headless Wolf was very excited to be the leader of a rapidly developing gang. He felt that he had to do everything Govesick instructed him to win Govesick's support and trust. Only then would he be able to stay in this position for a long time. After receiving Govesick's order, Headless Wolf ordered his confidant, Mike, to take 10 of his men in 2 commercial vehicles and set off for the Douglas Vast Hotel. In his opinion, it was already very good to send Mike to capture a person. Mike was his confidant and had a high position in the gang. He could be considered a small captain under him. All of them wore black suits and white gloves. The Guillotine Gang had sufficient funds, and Govesick also attached great importance to these external things. Therefore, the attire of these subordinates was comparable to those of world-class gangs. The car stopped at the entrance of the Douglas Vast Hotel. Mike, dressed in casual clothes, walked into the hotel lobby with 10 burly men following behind him. Previously, Batterton had gone downstairs after making the phone call. He stood in the hotel lobby and waited for Govesick's men to arrive. Batterton's expression suddenly tightened when he saw a young man in casual clothes walking in with 10 burly men. He knew this Mike. He was a confidant of the Guillotine Gang's boss, Headless Wolf. Batterton had seen him at a banquet before. Mr. Mike, you're here. Batterton immediately greeted him. And, the boss asked me to arrest someone. Please forgive me, Mr. Batterton. Although Mike said a polite sentence, his expression was still cold. It's okay. I have already said that I won't interfere in this matter. Batterton didn't care. After all, these people were not good people. He didn't care about their attitudes. Where is he? Asked Mike. He's on the top floor of the hotel, private room 1. Batterton said, you can go up from the elevator over there. Okay, I got it. There's nothing for you to do here. Mike waved his hand and walked into the elevator with his men. Looking at the slowly rising elevator, Batterton breathed a sigh of relief. He quickly picked up the intercom at the front desk and dialed the number in Yang Ming's room. "Hello. Mr. Yang. I'm Batterton. Govasix men are here. They are from the Guillotine Gang. A man named Mike is leading the team. He has brought 10 men." Batterton reported to Yang Ming. "And I got it." "Thank you," said Yang Ming lightly. After that, Yang Ming hung up Batterton's phone and dialed Golden Bull's room number 3. "Golden Bull, it's me." Golden Bull didn't speak after picking up the phone, so Yang Ming spoke first. "Hello, leader." Golden Bull replied immediately. He had always maintained a cautious attitude when he was outside, so he was the same when he answered the phone. He wouldn't make a sound before he figured out the identity of the other party. 10 people will come up in a while. And 11 people. You go and deal with them, and then leave the leader to see me. Yang Ming instructed Golden Bull. "Yes, leader." After Golden Bull accepted the order, he walked to the door of the room and looked at the movements in the corridor through the peephole on the door. After a while, he heard the sound of the elevator door opening, followed by a burst of footsteps. Golden Bull saw a young man in casual clothes coming over with a few black-shirt macho men. Golden Bull opened his room door and walked out. Mike was also stunned when Golden Bull suddenly came out of private room number 3. He had seen Yang Ming's photo before and knew that Yang Ming was in private room number 1, so the person who came out of private room number 3 was definitely not Yang Ming. However, Mike still asked, "What are you doing?" Golden Bull smiled. "I haven't asked him yet, but he asked me first." "I'm waiting for you here," Golden Bull said faintly. "And?" Mike was stunned, then he felt that something was wrong. He frowned and made a decision. "No matter what this person is doing, I will control him first." So, he waved his hand. "Catch him first." The 10 black-shirt macho men obeyed the order and surrounded Golden Bull. Golden Bull smiled coldly. "These guys dare to take the initiative to attack me." Golden Bull was not polite. His figure moved instantly. It was unknown when a bright dagger appeared in his hand. He quickly shuttled back and forth between these macho men. In the blink of an eye, several macho men had their necks slit and fell straight to the ground. Yang Ming's words had been very clear before. He wanted Mike to deal with the people, leaving only the leader. Since it was to deal with them and leave only the leader, it meant that all the others were to be killed. Therefore, Golden Bull was merciless and left Mike alone. These macho men all had pistols on them, but Mike asked them to control Golden Bull before. In their opinion, Golden Bull was only one person, and they had 10 people on their side. They didn't need to use their guns to catch Golden Bull. The result was tragic. They were killed by Golden Bull before they could even pull out their guns. "You, who are you? What are you doing?" Mike's expression suddenly changed. It wasn't that he hadn't seen dead people before. When he was fighting for territory with his subordinates, he had seen scenes that were several times bloodier than this. However, he had never seen a person who could kill 10 people in an instant and come out unscathed. However, Mike was not a fool. Although he was afraid, when he spoke, Mike's hand quietly touched his waist, preparing to pull out the gun quickly. In his opinion, even if the man in front of him was powerful, he was not an opponent of a pistol, right? However, in the next moment, Mike's face became even more ugly and pale. Because when he touched his waist, he didn't feel the pistol. "Where is my pistol? Did I not bring it? That's not right. I checked it before I set off. There's no problem. Did I drop it in the car on the way here?" Without a gun, Mike lost his life-saving trump card. Cold sweat fell from his forehead in an instant. "What are you looking for?" Golden Bowl asked Mike. Chapter 1749. Mike naturally wouldn't say that he was looking for a gun, but when he saw the smiling man in front of him, Mike really didn't dare to not answer his question. This is the devil who killed 10 people in the blink of an eye. Are you looking for this? Golden Bowl raised his right hand. Suddenly, there was a pistol in his right hand. Mike was shocked, but when he took a closer look, the pistol in Golden Bowl's hand was the pistol that he had lost. He didn't know when the pistol was in Golden Bowl's hand. Suddenly, Mike's face became even more ugly, and his face became even paler. He knew very well that Golden Bowl had approached him unknowingly and took away his pistol, but he didn't notice it at all. If Golden Bowl wanted to kill him, he would become a corpse like his other men who fell to the ground. I took it when I was dealing with them. Golden Bowl glanced at Mike and said arrogantly. He learned this from Yang Ming. This was also one of the tricks that Yang Ming often used. Golden Bowl heard it from Wang Xiaoyan and felt that it was cool, so he began to imitate it. His goal was to become a master like Yang Ming one day, so Golden Bowl had been imitating Yang Ming's tone and style of doing things. Mike had more cold sweat on his head. He didn't know how he provoked such a person. Didn't I just ask him a question? Did he have to kill all my men? He forgot that he was the one who ordered his men to control Golden Bowl. However, even if he didn't ask this sentence, Golden Bowl wouldn't let him go, so Mike thought too much. What are you going to do? Mike was now a little scared. Although he was a small underworld leader, he was not a desperado. He was also afraid of death. He was doing very well now, and had gained Headless Wolf's trust. If he died, he would have nothing. At that time, who would remember him? His underlings would have an excellent person to replace him, and he would become history. As time passed, he would be forgotten by people. Don't worry, I won't kill you now. Golden Bowl looked at Mike disdainfully and said, I want to take you to see the leader. Your leader? Mike wasn't stupid. The Golden Bowl said that it wouldn't kill him now, but it didn't mean that it wouldn't kill him later. What terrified him even more was that this Golden Bowl didn't look like a leader. Instead, he was a person who did things. If he was already so outstanding, what kind of person was his leader? Mike felt a pang of guilt. If he had known earlier, he wouldn't have stupidly volunteered to carry out this capture mission. Originally, he thought that it would be a simple matter to capture a foreigner. He just had to send 10 burly men to stand in front of that person. That person would be so scared that he would piss his pants. In the end, when the 10 of them stood in front of the other party's subordinates, before they could even stand properly and say a word, they were already lying on the ground, not knowing whether they were dead or alive. They were also scared witless. Then, he hadn't even seen the face of the person he was supposed to catch. Mike really wanted to cry. He was really unlucky. Why was he so proactive? You will see it in a while. Golden Bowl didn't say much, and his tone was still very cold. Thinking of the relationship between Yang Ming and the hotel, Golden Bowl also understood that the elevator on the top floor was probably locked at this moment. No one could go up, so Golden Bowl wasn't worried that these bodies in the corridor would be discovered. As Golden Bowl spoke, he picked up Mike and walked to room number 1. The movement in the corridor didn't attract the attention of Zhang Bin in room number 2. After all, Golden Bowl moved very quickly, and the movement was very small. At this moment, Zhang Bin, Zhang Jifang, and Wang Mei were sighing about their safe return this time, so they didn't notice the things in the corridor. Mike was carried by Golden Bowl like a chicken and came to the door of room number 1. Golden Bowl knocked on the door, and soon the door was opened. Mike finally saw the person he was supposed to catch this time, Yang Ming. After Yang Ming opened the door, he turned and entered the room. Golden Bowl carried Mike and walked behind him. Then, he came to the center of the room and threw Mike on the ground. Big brother, I didn't do it on purpose. I'm just a small fry. I'm just a small character. All of this was arranged by our boss, Headless Wolf. He asked me to catch you, so I had to catch you. Please don't vent your anger on me. I had no choice. Mike had figured it out at this moment. There was no other way except to kneel and beg for mercy. Not to mention whether this Yang Ming was powerful or not, just his underling alone was terrifying enough. One person killed 10 people in an instant. What kind of speed was that? Anyway, a wise man knew better than to fight when the odds were against him. If he couldn't beat him, he would be a fool if he didn't beg for mercy. 10 years was never too late for a gentleman to take revenge. He would make plans after he returned alive. If he lost his life, what was the use of the rest? Therefore, Mike also gave up his dignity and kowtowed in the center of the room regardless of his image. Anyway, image and dignity were nothing. In Mike's opinion, what was the point of dignity and image if he died? If he didn't die, everything else was just floating clouds. Let him get up. Don't dirty my carpet. Yang Ming waved his hand to Golden Bowl. Yang Ming didn't want to get blood on the carpet. Although it wasn't his carpet, it was inauspicious to live here. Yes. Golden Bowl responded and picked up Mike. The leader didn't ask you to kowtow. You stay here obediently. Ah. Yes, yes. Mike didn't expect that his kowtowing would cause others to be disgusted. He quickly stabilized his body and said carefully. Okay, you don't have to do these useless things here. Yang Ming frowned and looked at Mike with some disdain. I won't kill you. Ah. Thank you. Thank you. Mike was surprised and quickly said happily. What about the people he brought? Yang Ming ignored Mike and asked Golden Bowl. They have been dealt with, said Golden Bowl. Good. Yang Ming nodded and then said to Mike, you take these corpses back. Tell your gang leader, Headless Wolf, to tell Govasik that there are only 18 hours left. Yes, yes, I will definitely pass the message. Although Mike didn't know what Yang Ming meant, Yang Ming obviously wanted to let him live now. Of course, he quickly agreed. Anyway, as long as he didn't die, he would do whatever he was told to do. And, Golden Bowl, find some bags and put the corpses in them. Let him find a car to take them away, Yang Ming said to Golden Bowl. Okay, leader. Golden Bowl carried Mike and directly grabbed him again. He went out of Yang Ming's room and threw him at the door. Wait for me here. I will find the bags. Yes, yes. Mike nodded quickly. Seeing that Golden Bowl had really gone far and entered the elevator, Mike's heart was a little excited. Golden Bowl is gone, and Yang Ming isn't watching here. I can escape now. Should I escape or not? The current situation was very suitable for escape, but Golden Bowl was a little hesitant. Just now, he heard Yang Ming's intention to let him live. Even if he didn't escape, he wouldn't die. However, if he escaped and was caught, it would be self-defeating if Yang Ming and Golden Bowl changed their minds again. Therefore, in order to avoid new problems, Mike decided not to run. After all, Yang Ming said that he would let him go, so it must be true. Yang Ming didn't need to lie to him at all. If he wanted to kill him, it would be a piece of cake. What was the use of lying to an insignificant person like him? After figuring this out, Mike waited there with peace of mind. He didn't mind waiting for a while. Anyway, carrying these corpses back showed that he was loyal and didn't abandon his companions. At that time, he would be able to answer to Headless Wolf. After a while, Golden Bowl came back with a few woven bags. Seeing that Mike was waiting there with peace of mind, Golden Bowl was quite satisfied. He threw the woven bags in his hand to him and said, put their corpses in them yourself. Yes, yes. Mike took the bags and began to put the corpses in them. Anyway, he didn't care about anything else. If he couldn't put them in, he would just fold them. Who cares? He would stuff them in first. He blocked the door of the elevator with one on the left and the other on the right. Perhaps he was trying to prevent the elevator door from closing. Then he dragged another 2 woven silk bags out of the elevator and walked towards the entrance of the hotel. What is he dragging in his hand? Thinking of this, Batterton decided to go forward and ask. After all, this was his own hotel. If he asked, Mike would give him face and answer. "What's in that silk bag you're dragging, Mr. Mac?" he asked. "Do you need my help?" Batterton greeted him and asked. "Ah, Mr. Batterton." Mike was a little embarrassed. He laughed dryly. "No need. I'm just carrying it into the car." "Then, let me help you," Batterton said and dragged out 2 woven silk bags from the elevator. But as soon as the bags were in his hands, Batterton's expression changed immediately. He vaguely felt what was in the woven silk bags. Seeing that Batterton was helping, Mike didn't stop him. After all, this incident happened in Batterton's hotel. Batterton had seen that he had brought 10 men down. Now that he was dragging 10 bags alone, he had to explain how he felt. "Mr. Batterton, I won't hide it from you. I'm screwed this time." Mike didn't hide it. "These woven silk bags contain my 10 men. Ah. Although he vaguely guessed what was in the woven silk bags, Batterton was still surprised when he heard Mike say that his 10 men were all dead. This was done by Yang Ming. Yang Ming, that kid, is very difficult to deal with. One of his men is even more powerful. I stayed because he wanted to use me as a messenger. Otherwise, I would also." Mike didn't continue. He continued to say to Batterton, "Mr. Batterton, let me give you a piece of advice. Don't provoke that kid again. Don't bring you trouble again. Let my boss take care of the rest." Mike regarded Batterton as his accomplice, so he was afraid that Yang Ming would vent his anger on Batterton. So, he gave him a heads up in advance to give him some advice. "Ah. So powerful. Then it seems that I really have to be careful." Although Batterton said so, he thought in his heart, "It seems that the family master is right. I don't need to intervene in this matter. Yang Ming can solve it." After carrying all the woven silk bags to Mike's commercial vehicle, Batterton returned to the hotel lobby. Although they had been carrying the bags for a long time, in the eyes of others, they might be carrying goods or something. No one was suspicious. Mike drove away quickly, and Batterton immediately dialed the phone in Yang Ming's room. "Mr. Yang, I'm Batterton. Are you okay?" Although Batterton already knew from Mike that Yang Ming was fine, he didn't expect anything to happen to him. "I'm fine. Has Mike left?" Yang Ming was amused. Batterton obviously saw Mike carrying the corpses. "Yes, I also helped him carry a few of those woven bags." Batterton said, "Don't worry, Mr. Yang. No one else was involved." "Oh, I got it. You can continue with your work. Contact me again if there's anything," Yang Ming said faintly without any expression after hearing it. "Okay, Mr. Yang," Batterton breathed a sigh of relief, knowing that he had established a good relationship with Yang Ming. After calling Yang Ming, Batterton decided to call Kaik again to report the situation here. Although Kaik did not ask him to report at all times, he felt that this was a big deal. He had to tell Kaik about it to show his respect for Kaik. Sure enough, after listening to Batterton's report, Kaik praised him and asked him to continue to pay attention to the development of the situation. "How is it?" As soon as Kaik hung up the phone, the elders around him asked anxiously. 11 went and 10 died. The leader was sent back as a messenger, said Kaik. The Nanqing family is really stupid. Is Mr. Yang Ming someone they can offend? They deserve to die. The elder who had a conflict with the Nanqing family said gloatingly. That's right. They really deserve it. I think this Nanqing family will be finished soon. They could have provoked anyone, but they just had to provoke Yang Ming. He is the existence that can make the Lancer family perish instantly. The others also agreed. After all, the Lancer family had nothing to do with them anymore. They could casually talk about it now. Kaik looked at this scene and smiled slightly. As his relationship with Yang Ming became more and more familiar, his position as the family master became more and more secure. On the way back to the guillotine gang, Mike originally wanted to call the boss, Headless Wolf, to report, but he thought that it was better to report this matter in person, so Mike sped all the way back to the guillotine gang's headquarters. He parked the car in the underground parking lot of the guillotine gang's company, got out of the car in a hurry, rushed to the boss, Headless Wolf's office, and knocked on the door. Who is it? Why are you knocking on the door? Headless Wolf asked with some displeasure. Just as he was about to say that the door was unlocked and that he could come in directly, he saw Mike stumble in. Chapter 1751. Boss, it's not good. Mike rushed in and shouted. Why are you in such a hurry? Why can't you talk nicely? Headless Wolf frowned. Even if you caught the person, you shouldn't ask for credit like this. In Headless Wolf's opinion, Mike must have caught the person and asked for credit. In his opinion, Mike was his confidant, so he must want to be promoted in the gang. However, there must be a reason for that promotion. Mike must be using the excuse of arresting people to claim credit, so that he could take the opportunity to promote him. However, Headless Wolf felt that it was not a big deal to bring people to the hotel to catch a foreigner. This matter was too simple. Anyone could do it. What was there to ask for credit? So Headless Wolf glared at Mike. I know what you are thinking. You're my trusted subordinate. If there's a chance, I'll definitely promote you. But you don't have to be so anxious. We've only caught a person. It's not a big contribution. If I promote you, others will definitely have opinions. No, boss. Mike didn't know what to say after hearing Headless Wolf's words. He quickly shook his head. Okay, what do you mean no? You caught the person, right? Lock him up. I will call the boss to report. Headless Wolf waved his hand and interrupted Mike's words. No, boss. Mike was a little anxious. I told you to stop talking. Why are you still talking? I will call the boss first. If you have any thoughts, you can talk to me after I call. Headless Wolf stopped him impatiently. Boss, listen to me. I really have something important to report. Something big has happened. Mike couldn't care less. He rushed over and grabbed the phone that Headless Wolf had just picked up, and put it back in its original position. What's wrong with you, kid? Is there no end to it? Headless Wolf was anxious. Even if you are my confidant, you can't be so unruly and disrespectful, right? Behave yourself. If you don't behave, you won't have to do anything next time. Mike complained in his heart. Even if you ask me to go next time, I won't go. It's too scary. It's too scary. I almost died. This time wasn't enough. Who dares to go again? Boss, I really don't dare to go next time. It's too scary. Mike said quickly. What do you mean? What the hell is going on? Headless Wolf realized that something was wrong. He frowned and put down the phone in his hand. Mike, could it be that your operation failed this time? It's more than a failure. It's a failure. Mike smiled bitterly. Boss, I brought the 10 underlings, I brought them back. Are you saying that everyone else is dead? How is this possible? Headless Wolf was shocked and looked at Mike in disbelief. Is what you said true? Headless Wolf didn't expect such a simple mission to fail. It seems that Yang Ming's underling isn't simple. How can you joke about this kind of thing? Mike nodded and said, Damn. I underestimated the enemy this time. Headless Wolf frowned. No wonder the boss told me to do it well. It seems that this person isn't simple. That's right. Mike hurriedly echoed. This time, he was the one leading the team, and the entire team was wiped out. Although the other party's people were too strong, it was impossible for him not to have any responsibility at all. Therefore, he echoed in order to minimize his responsibility. Headless Wolf suddenly thought of another thing. His expression changed, and he said to Mike, They are all dead. Why did you come back alive? You don't have any injuries at all. Boss, I was released as a messenger and a corpse carrier. Mike was startled and immediately understood Headless Wolf's meaning. He was suspecting me, so he quickly explained with a bitter smile, he didn't even bother to kill me. He just asked me to pass a message to the Nanching family's family master to see him within 24 hours. Otherwise, you will have to bear the consequences. Headless Wolf frowned. He believed Mike's explanation. After all, it was just a sudden suspicion. After all, Mike was his trusted underling. He had no reason to suspect that Mike was disloyal. What's more, this foreigner named Yang Ming was ordered by the boss to catch him temporarily. It was impossible for him to have any interaction with Mike before this. It was impossible for the two to have any contact. Humph, your tone is quite arrogant. Headless Wolf was very disdainful of Yang Ming's tone. Even if his underlings are good at fighting, so what? I have lost 10 underlings this time, but it doesn't mean anything. It only means that I underestimated the enemy. Yeah, boss. You don't know how embarrassing I was today. I knelt on the ground and kowtowed to him, but he didn't even care. Mike also agreed angrily, Boss, you must teach him a lesson. Well, you don't have to worry about this matter. Leave it to me. Headless Wolf snorted and said, You go and settle the dead brothers. Give more of the family's burial fee. I will leave this matter to you. Yes. Boss, I'll deal with it now. Mike was overjoyed when he heard that he didn't need to continue to care about Yang Ming's matter. Moreover, he was also responsible for settling the families of the dead brothers. This was a good job to buy people's hearts and build a good reputation. Anyway, it was the gang's money that was spent. But when the time came, everyone would see how good he was. Mike naturally agreed with joy. After Mike went out, Headless Wolf dialed his boss Govasik's phone number with a depressed expression. Headless Wolf, how is it? Is everything settled? Govasik picked up Headless Wolf's phone call and asked. Boss, something went wrong. Headless Wolf said carefully. Something went wrong? What's the problem? Govasik was stunned and asked. Boss, this time I sent 11 brothers to catch them. In the end, only one person came back alive. The other 10 were all killed there. Headless Wolf said that Yang Ming has a very powerful underling. He almost killed them instantly. What? Govasik heard Headless Wolf's report and stood up from his office chair. He exclaimed, How is it possible? Is this guy so powerful? Boss, I underestimated the enemy before. I didn't expect the other party to have such a strong opponent. Headless Wolf admitted his mistake first, however, even so, that Yang Ming is really arrogant. He asked my underling who came back alive to tell you that you should inform the Nanching family's family master to meet him within 24 hours. Otherwise, you will bear the consequences. Humph. Govasick listened to Headless Wolf's words and snorted coldly. It wasn't the first time he heard this sentence. He had heard it from Smith and Batterton. He didn't expect Headless Wolf to also bring this sentence. He sneered in his heart. Isn't this Yang Ming too arrogant? How can he be so confident? Isn't it just because he has a strong underling? So what if he can fight? You can't beat guns and cannons. Boss, you see. Headless Wolf didn't know what Govasick was thinking. He only heard Govasick's cold snort. He was a little nervous, so he quickly asked. How about this? You ask someone to send him a letter of challenge. Ask that Yang Ming to bring his underlings to the Guillotine Gang's headquarters. Govasick thought for a while and said, since his underlings are so good at fighting, we will be at a disadvantage if we send someone to the hotel to look for him. After all, the Douglas Vast Hotel is someone else's territory. We can't send too many people. We also have to consider the social impact. Moreover, only a few people can go up the elevator at one time. If the previous batch is killed, the losses will outweigh the gains. Chapter 1752. That's a good idea. Let that kid come to our gang headquarters to die. Headless Wolf thought that this was a good idea. It could avoid unnecessary casualties. Moreover, when Headless Wolf arrived at the headquarters, even if Headless Wolf's men were good at fighting, it would be useless. The headquarters was his territory. He could do whatever he wanted to Headless Wolf. Headless Wolf could only obediently accept his death. I don't need to teach you what to do next, right? Bring him to the headquarters. Don't talk about rules with him. Just go up and tie him up, said Govasick. Boss, I understand, replied Headless Wolf. However, he thought about it again and thought of a key problem. Boss, what if Yang Ming doesn't come? He's not stupid. Let him come to the headquarters. No matter how many powerful underlings he brings, they won't be our opponents. And, your worry is right, but it's not necessary. Laughed Govasick. Why is it not necessary? Headless Wolf was stunned. Think about it. Since this Yang Ming is so conceited, he wants the family master to see him 24 hours a day. Otherwise, he will have to bear the consequences. This means that he is a very proud and confident person. In this case, he won't run away, said Govasick. Moreover, you can tell him that I can't invite the family master. If he wants to see the family master, he has to come to the Guillotine Gang's headquarters. With this, an arrogant person like him will definitely go to the Guillotine Gang's headquarters. Yes. Why didn't I think of that? Headless Wolf said happily, Boss, you used this method of provocation well. This time, don't make any mistakes. Be careful. Call me after you're done. Although Govasick knew that this matter wasn't Headless Wolf's fault, but the opponent was too strong, he was still a little dissatisfied. If he didn't underestimate the enemy, things wouldn't have ended up like this. After all, those were 10 underlings. They weren't weak. Don't worry, boss. There won't be any problems this time. Headless Wolf promised. Govasick didn't say anything and hung up the phone directly. Headless Wolf wiped the sweat on his forehead, then thought about it and dialed Mike's phone. Originally, Headless Wolf didn't intend to let Mike manage this matter anymore. His original plan was to find one of the 4 Gene Gang members in the gang, Slater, to personally take action. Slater was his personal bodyguard, so it wouldn't be a problem for him to take on 11 people. He should be able to handle it with the other 3 Gene Gang members. However, Govasick's call made him change his mind. It was safer to let Yang Ming come to his gang's headquarters. That way, Yang Ming could only wait to be captured. However, after much consideration, Headless Wolf decided to let Mike be the messenger. This kid had previous experience and had been there once. Moreover, since Yang Ming had let this kid go last time, he would let him go this time as well. This would prevent other people from causing more trouble. Mike, where are you? Headless Wolf dialed Mike's number again. Boss, I'm discussing the compensation with the families of the brothers who died, said Mike. Well, leave this matter to others first. I have something to talk to you about. Come to my office first, said Headless Wolf. Ah, okay. Mike just wanted to ask what was the matter, but Headless Wolf had already hung up the phone. Mike could only go to Headless Wolf's office with a nervous mood. Boss, you're looking for me? Asked Mike carefully. It's like this. Headless Wolf had already written the letter of challenge and was printing it out with the printer. Go to the Douglas Vast Hotel again. Find Yang Ming and give this letter of challenge to him. Ah. Go again. Mike's face immediately turned bitter. Originally, he thought that he didn't have to go, so he was very happy. He didn't expect Headless Wolf to change his mind in the blink of an eye. I don't have anything for you to do this time, and I'm not asking you to catch people. You just have to give this letter to Yang Ming, said Headless Wolf. Okay. Although Mike didn't want to go at all, he had no other choice since Headless Wolf had already instructed him. He could only brace himself and go. After you go, tell Yang Ming that this is our letter of challenge to him. If he has the guts, come to our headquarters. As for the matter of him asking us to invite the family master, just say that we can't invite him. If he wants to find the family master, come to the gang headquarters first, said Headless Wolf. I got it. Mike nodded and took the letter of challenge that Headless Wolf handed to him. He walked out of Headless Wolf's office dejectedly. The corpses in the car had been moved out. As for the funeral of these people, Mike handed it over to his deputy, his confidant, to handle. Anyway, this kind of good thing couldn't be handed over to others. Even if it was handed over, it had to be his own people who benefited. Mike drove the car back to the Douglas Vast Hotel, parked the car, and got out. He carefully looked around the hotel before entering the hotel. He found that Batterton was still standing in the hotel lobby. He was a little embarrassed, but he had no choice but to walk in. Mr. Mike. Why are you back again? Batterton greeted him strangely. Why are you alone this time? Although Batterton mocked Mike in his heart, he still pretended to be very concerned on the surface. Don't mention it. I'm here to deliver the letter of challenge on behalf of our boss. Mike said helplessly, I didn't want to come at first, but the boss asked me to come, so I can't not come. Forget it, I won't talk about it anymore. I'll quickly deliver the letter of challenge, then quickly leave. I don't dare to stay here any longer. Go, be careful, said Batterton. Mike came to room 1 on the top floor of the hotel. He hesitated for a long time before knocking on the door. Yang Ming had already noticed that someone had come from the movement in the corridor. When he saw that it was Mike, he didn't do anything. He just wanted to see why this kid came back. After Mike dawdled for a long time and finally knocked on the door, Yang Ming asked, Who is it? Mr. Yang, it's me, Mike. Mike said carefully, Can I trouble you to open the door? Why? Did you bring someone to arrest me again? Yang Ming asked deliberately. He got up and prepared to open the door. No, don't misunderstand. I'm not here to trouble you. How would I dare? Mike quickly explained, Mr. Yang, I'm here to deliver the letter of challenge. Deliver the letter of challenge? Yang Ming was stunned and opened the door with some doubts. Yeah, this is it. Mike quickly handed the letter of challenge to Yang Ming. Yang Ming snorted coldly, took the so-called letter of challenge from Mike, and opened it to read. Is this a provocation? Yang Ming looked at the wording of the letter of challenge and felt some disdain in his heart. They want me to go to the guillotine gang's headquarters? They have a good plan. Do they want me to walk right into their trap? However, if I don't have the strength, I'm walking right into their trap. If I have the strength, I'm smashing the place. This is great. I don't have to bother to find out where the guillotine gang's headquarters is. I can just write the address directly. Seeing that Yang Ming didn't speak, Mike was a little scared. Mr. Yang, I've delivered the letter of challenge. Can I leave now? Leave? Yang Ming asked in return. Mr. Yang, I'm just here to deliver the letter of challenge. I don't have any other intentions. Mike's voice was about to cry. When two armies fight, they don't kill the messenger. Ha! Yang Ming looked at Mike's appearance and couldn't help but be amused. Two armies fight. Are these two armies? Okay, I didn't say that I want to make things difficult for you. You tell that headless wolf that I will go. Ask him to wait for me. Okay, Mr. Yang, when are you going? Mike nodded quickly. I'll go after I finish eating, Yang Ming said faintly. He waved his hand and closed the door. Who? Mike breathed a sigh of relief and hurried downstairs before Yang Ming changed his mind. Yang Ming threw the letter of challenge aside and dialed the phone number of Golden Bull's room. Leader, what are your orders? Golden Bull also noticed that someone passed by in the corridor and had been staring at Mike at the door. However, without Yang Ming's order, he wouldn't act on his own initiative. Golden Bull, gather everyone. Follow me to destroy the guillotine gang's headquarters later, said Yang Ming. Chapter 1753. Okay, leader. Golden Bull did not ask where the guillotine gang was, nor did he ask when they would be there. In his mind, he only firmly obeyed Yang Ming's orders. Other than that, he would not raise any objections to Yang Ming's words. However, at certain moments, Golden Bull would put forward some of his own suggestions to seek Yang Ming's opinion. Should we also inform Wang Peng to get ready? Wang Peng's men were not under Golden Bull's management. Wang Peng belonged to Island X, and he was now the butler of the Charles family. He no longer belonged to the Black Butterfly organization. And call him too. Yang Ming thought about it and agreed with Golden Bull's suggestion. Wang Peng's men were good at breaking through quickly. They could be of great use. Yes, leader. I will contact Wang Peng, said Golden Bull. After calling Golden Bull, Yang Ming turned and left his room. He came to Zhang Bin's room number 2 and knocked on the door. It didn't take long for Zhang Bin's voice to be heard. Who is it? It's me, Zhang Bin. Open the door, said Yang Ming. Ah, the boss is here. Zhang Bin said as he opened the door. Boss, Wang Mei and I were talking about you. You are so awesome. You are so awesome even in a foreign country. Yang Ming was dumbfounded when he heard Zhang Bin's words. Didn't I tell you to be more low-key in the future? Do you have a bad memory? Isn't this just satisfying my vanity? You see, even the foreigners don't live in such a luxurious suite. We can live here as soon as we arrive. Zhang Bin scratched his head embarrassedly. This time, I have something to brag about when I go back. Wang Mei and I are taking photos as a memento. Wang Mei was holding a camera at the moment. When she heard Zhang Bin's words, she felt a little embarrassed. She glared at Zhang Bin and pulled him back. Brother Yang, come in and sit. Zhang Bin, you are blocking the door. Why don't you let Brother Yang in? Ugh, I forgot. Zhang Bin heard Wang Mei's words and quickly moved aside. Boss, come in quickly. I won't enter. I have something to do. I have something to do. Don't wait for me, but don't go out casually. Open the door. Of them. Although Yang Ming wasn't afraid of anything, he was afraid that Govasik would lure the tiger away from the mountain and come back to trouble Zhang Bing. Hence, he reminded them in advance. "Ah. Boss, I got it." Zhang Bin nodded after listening. He had almost experienced a life and death situation. Zhang Bin had also become cautious. "But boss, why are you going out? Won't there be any danger?" "Danger? I don't have any, but others will." Yang Ming smiled. "N?" Zhang Bin was stunned. He immediately understood Yang Ming's meaning. Yang Ming was probably going to find trouble with someone, and this person was obviously related to the previous class. "Boss, be careful." Yang Ming nodded and said nothing. He greeted Zhang Jifang and left Zhang Bin's room. Golden Bull had already informed Wang Peng at this time. When he saw Yang Ming walk out of the room, he had been waiting at the door of his room. When he saw Yang Ming enter Zhang Bin's room, he did not disturb him. When Yang Ming came out of Zhang Bin's room, Golden Bull walked out of his room. "Boss, Wang Peng is also ready. What do you think? And let's go." Yang Ming felt that Golden Bull had matured a lot. He was very different from when they first met. This made Yang Ming very satisfied with him. "Where is Wang Peng?" "At our Charles family's headquarters in Las Vegas." Golden Bull said. "Right, the team that class found was also captured by Wang Peng. What should we do with these people?" "It's up to you." Yang Ming didn't care about the life and death of those people. Since he was working for class, he had to be prepared to lose his life at any time. "Then let's go to the Charles family's headquarters first." "Okay, boss," Golden Bull said respectfully. They went downstairs and came to the lobby on the first floor of the hotel. As soon as they got out of the elevator, Yang Ming saw Batterton from afar. Batterton also saw Yang Ming and trotted over to greet him. "Mr. Yang. I'm going out. If possible, stop using the elevator on the top floor. Don't use it except for food delivery," Yang Ming said to Batterton. "Oh." Batterton was stunned and immediately understood what Yang Ming meant. Yang Ming wanted to go out, but he was afraid that his friends would have problems during this period, so he asked him to do this. "This is easy. Don't worry, Mr. Yang. I will take care of it. Even if you don't say it, I will protect your friends. If it really doesn't work, I can always call the police, right?" "Hee, of course," Yang Ming said with a smile. Batterton thought, Yang Ming is really ruthless. He is not pretending to be ruthless. Mike brought 10 people up, and all of them died. Is this the means of an ordinary person? Moreover, when Mike came the second time, he was obviously frowning. It could be seen that he was really scared and didn't want to go up. At this moment, he also understood why the family master, Kaik, was so gloating after hearing that the Nanqing family had provoked Yang Ming. He even predicted that the Nanqing family would be finished. It seems that the family master knows the inside story. He knows that this Yang Ming is a powerful person. However, Batterton remembered that he had almost offended Yang Ming before. He couldn't help but be scared and break out in a cold sweat. He secretly thanked his lucky stars. He went to the underground parking lot with Golden Bull, got into Golden Bull's modified Jaguar, and headed to the Charles family's Las Vegas branch. The Charles family was worthy of being the world's second assassin family. Their branch in Las Vegas was very magnificent. Although it was in the suburbs, the transportation was very convenient. The area was even more amazing. Come to think of it, there was even a place for training. To be able to get such a piece of land in such a bustling international metropolis, it also showed the extraordinary strength of the Charles family. Brother Yang. Wang Peng had already been waiting at the entrance of the branch building. When he saw Yang Ming and Golden Bull's car, he immediately greeted them and helped Yang Ming open the door. He had followed Yang Ming earlier, and because of his relationship with Ho Jinhan, he called Yang Ming Brother Yang. This was somewhat different from Golden Bull, who came directly from the assassin system. "Well, kid, you did a good job today." Yang Ming smiled and patted Wang Peng's shoulder. "Right, in the square, who was the girl who did that to you?" "Your girlfriend." "No, it's a new female member." Wang Peng was a little embarrassed. "Brother Yang, didn't you say that we should train some girls? Hee, I don't mean anything else. You can't be single all your life. If there is a chance, you should solve your personal problems." Yang Ming smiled. Let's talk about it in a few years." Wang Peng was stunned and smiled bitterly. "Are you ready?" "Let's go if you are ready," said Yang Ming. "Okay, where are we going now?" asked Wang Peng. "The Guillotine Gang's headquarters." "Are you sure you can eliminate them all at once?" asked Yang Ming with a smile. "No problem." Wang Peng nodded very simply. "If it's just to eliminate them, Brother Yang, you don't have to go. I can bring people over." These people under Wang Peng were trained according to the training method of the Special Forces. They were good at quick assault combat. It was easy for them to eliminate a gang's nest. This team of people was trained by Wang Peng as mercenaries. They had been on the battlefield several times in North Africa. Everyone had rich combat experience. How could ordinary gang members be the opponents of these people? Yang Ming thought about it. Wang Peng is right. I am making a fuss over nothing. It's just a local gang. It's not a big organization. It's just one of the 3 major gangs. Yang Ming smiled and shook his head. It seems that I have overestimated the strength of the Guillotine Gang by connecting with the behind-the-scenes boss. Since Wang Peng was so confident, Yang Ming didn't need to bring Golden Bull's people. He only needed to bring Golden Bull. "How about this, Golden Bull? You don't need to bring your men. You just need to follow me," said Yang Ming to Golden Bull. Chapter 1754. "Okay, leader." Golden Bull nodded without objection. "Wang Peng, after Golden Bull and I enter the Guillotine Gang's headquarters, you take your men and destroy the Guillotine Gang." Yang Ming instructed Wang Peng, "Is there any problem?" "No problem. I promise to complete the mission." Wang Peng nodded and said seriously, "But, Brother Yang, how do we deal with those gang members?" "You decide. Anyway, this Guillotine Gang doesn't look like a good gang to me." "They are just a group of scum," said Yang Ming faintly. "I understand." Wang Peng immediately understood Yang Ming's meaning. Golden Bull was still the one driving. Yang Ming rode in Golden Bull's Grand Dragon commercial vehicle and led the way in front. Wang Peng's team rode a bus and followed behind from a distance. The name of a tourism company was painted on the bus. It looked like a sightseeing team. It would not attract the attention of others. Oh, with the support of the Nanqing family, this Guillotine Gang is really extraordinary. After seeing the Charles family's branch, Yang Ming saw the Guillotine Gang's headquarters again. It was actually comparable to the Charles family's branch in terms of style. Although it was not as large as the Charles family's branch, the Guillotine Gang's headquarters was located in the city of Las Vegas. Even if it was not a bustling area, the land price was much more expensive than the suburbs. It seemed that Govisic's casino made a lot of money. It could actually support such a large gang. "What are you doing?" As soon as Golden Bull's car drove to the entrance of the Guillotine Gang's headquarters, 2 men in black came over and knocked on the car window. Golden Bull ignored them and continued to drive. One of the macho men in black was a little anxious and walked forward to block Golden Bull's car. However, Golden Bull didn't care at all. He continued to drive forward with the Macho Man on his back. He didn't listen to anyone except for Yang Ming's orders. Yang Ming didn't ask him to stop. He didn't care if there was anyone in front of the car. Ah! The Macho Man was shocked. He did not expect that the people in the car would dare to continue driving when he blocked in front of the car. He did not dare to be arrogant and quickly moved aside. He cursed in his heart. Who the fuck is this person? Why is he driving so recklessly? Is he from another gang looking for trouble? Okay, stop here. Yang Ming said to Golden Bull. It was enough to deal with these gatekeepers. Anyway, Wang Peng and the others were there. Golden Bull nodded and parked the car. Seeing Yang Ming and Golden Bull getting out of the car, the two macho men looked nervous as if they were facing a formidable enemy. This was outside the Guillotine Gang's headquarters. They couldn't use their guns on the street. Even if they were gang members, they had to take the police into consideration. Although the gun control in the United States was not very strict, it was another thing to shoot people on the street. Strictly speaking, Yang Ming's car was parked at a public facility. It was not in the Guillotine Gang's private territory, so it was not considered trespassing. Who are you two? What do you want? The Macho Man looked at Yang Ming nervously. Your boss asked me to come. Yang Ming handed the letter of challenge that Headless Wolf asked Mike to deliver to the Macho Man. Ah! The Macho Man was stunned and quickly took the letter of challenge. He had already been informed by Mike that Yang Ming was coming. Seeing that Yang Ming really came at this time, he naturally did not dare to be negligent. He knew that this was someone that even his boss, Headless Wolf, treated seriously. Naturally, he was very careful. You two, come with me. I will take you to see the boss. Yang Ming nodded and followed one of the macho men with Golden Bull. They walked into the headquarters. Headless Wolf did not expect Yang Ming to really come. Although the wording of the letter of challenge was very extreme and full of provocation, he felt that at least if he received such a letter of challenge, he would not come recklessly. After all, no one was a fool. Isn't going to someone else's headquarters equivalent to going to someone else's territory to seek death? After receiving the report from his underling, Headless Wolf was a little dumbfounded. Did I hear wrongly? Yang Ming, that brat, is here. And he only brought one underling with him. After getting an affirmative answer from his underling, Headless Wolf really wanted to laugh a few times. The world is really full of strange things. How can there be such a fool? Let them in. Headless Wolf's mouth showed a smile. Since they are here, they don't have to go back. After the underling who came in to report received the order, he turned and left Headless Wolf's office. He said to the macho man in black who led Yang Ming in, "Boss, let him in. You can go back." Yes. The macho man in black nodded, then turned and left. He had sent Yang Ming here, so his mission was completed. After the macho man in black left, the underling said to Yang Ming and Golden Bull, "You two go in." Yang Ming and Golden Bull didn't say much. They directly pushed the door and walked into Headless Wolf's office. You are Headless Wolf. Yang Ming walked into the office casually and sat directly on the sofa opposite Headless Wolf's desk. At the same time, Headless Wolf also sized up Yang Ming and spoke almost at the same time. You are Yang Ming? Hee, it seems that you still don't know your place. Headless Wolf sneered and glanced at Yang Ming. He thought, this brat has come to my territory, yet he is still so arrogant. He really doesn't know how to spell the word death. Initially, Headless Wolf wasn't prepared to show his trump card directly, but now, he felt that there was no need to continue talking to Yang Ming. He would just let him wait here for Govasik to deal with him. I don't need to know my place when I'm with you. But you don't know your place, said Yang Ming coldly. Ha! You are quite arrogant. Headless Wolf couldn't help but be amused after listening to Yang Ming's words. Where is the family master of the Nanqing family? Yang Ming didn't have time to talk nonsense with Headless Wolf. Don't talk about those useless things. I don't want to talk to you about this. Brat, do you really think that you can see the family master of the Nanqing family just by coming here? Headless Wolf was stunned, and suddenly laughed. Ah ha 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 ha. Brat, you are really retarded. Why don't you think that you can see the family master of the Nanqing family as you wish? Who do you think you are? Ha! Yang Ming smiled. Could it be that you wrote the challenge letter for fun? To tell you the truth, brat, don't even think about leaving this time. Headless Wolf snorted coldly. The purpose of this challenge letter is to deceive you. Do you think you can still see the family master? You are too naive. You are very stupid and naive. Oh. So what you're saying is that the things written on the letter of challenge don't count. You won't abide by it. Yang Ming was not annoyed after listening to Headless Wolf's words, and still asked calmly. Of course, what else do you think? Headless Wolf curled his lips. Well, since you don't abide by it, then I don't need to abide by it. Yang Ming shrugged and said, originally, I felt a little guilty about killing you all. After all, you fools suffered because of the Nanqing family. But now it seems that you all really died for nothing. What burden? What do you mean by dying for nothing? Headless Wolf frowned. What nonsense are you talking about? Nothing, but you can die now. Your mission is complete. Yang Ming glanced at Headless Wolf disdainfully, and then said to Golden Bull, take him down. You, what are you going to do? Headless Wolf was shocked. He didn't expect Yang Ming to dare to directly order his underlings to take action here. This is my territory. You have to think carefully. If you dare to act rashly, don't blame me for being impolite. As Headless Wolf spoke, his hand reached for the pistol hidden under the table. Then, he suddenly shouted, someone. Yang Ming and Golden Bull acted as if they didn't hear it. Golden Bull continued to walk forward. As Headless Wolf raised the pistol, he felt his wrist being touched by Golden Bull. His palm also opened by conditioned reflex, and the pistol fell on the table. Golden Bull's acupoint sealing technique was learned from Yang Ming. Yang Ming had taught Golden Bull and others some simple acupoint sealing techniques. Golden Bull had just touched the acupoint on Headless Wolf's wrist, causing Headless Wolf's palm to straighten instantly. The pistol also fell unconsciously. Chapter 1755. Headless Wolf was about to shoot, but he didn't expect the pistol to be out of his hand. His face suddenly turned pale, and he shouted desperately, someone, come quickly. Yang Ming didn't stop Headless Wolf from shouting. Instead, he signaled to Golden Bull with his eyes, telling him to continue shouting. Bang! The office door was pushed open, and Wang Peng rushed in. Catch him! Catch them for me! Headless Wolf immediately roared and pointed at Yang Ming and Golden Bull when he saw someone come in. Wang Peng was unmoved. He came here to report to Yang Ming, not Headless Wolf's underling. Why aren't you moving? Didn't you hear me talking to you? Headless Wolf was a little anxious. Seeing his underling standing there stupidly and not moving, he shouted again. I heard you. Wang Peng was naturally much more casual in front of Yang Ming than Golden Bull. He glanced at Headless Wolf and knew that he had misunderstood. He smiled slightly and wanted to make him happy. Why aren't you moving even though you heard me? Headless Wolf didn't expect his underling to be so stupid. Right, whose underling are you? Why do you look so unfamiliar? Why haven't I seen you before? Oh, I'm Brother Yang's underling, Wang Ping replied. Brother Yang? Which Brother Yang? What Brother Yang? Who's the boss of your brother Yang? Headless Wolf was stunned. He had never heard of anyone called Brother Yang in his gang, so he subconsciously thought that this Brother Yang might be a small character. There were so many gang members in the gang, so he naturally couldn't remember everyone clearly. So, he asked who the boss of this Brother Yang was to see if he had any impression. However, Headless Wolf was also puzzled. Where did my bodyguard go? Why didn't he come in, but let this idiot in? Also, how did he come in? Who allowed him to come in? Brother Yang, it's Brother Yang. How would I know who's above Brother Yang? Wang Ping rolled his eyes and said, in my opinion, Brother Yang is the boss. There is no one stronger than him. You. The Headless Wolf was furious. Get lost. Someone, come quickly. Mike? Where's Mike? Secretary. Where's the secretary? Oh, you're looking for them. They are already dead. Wang Peng looked at Headless Wolf with pity. Dead? Headless Wolf was stunned, then his expression changed. He faintly felt that something was wrong. He had been shouting for so long, but only this Brother Yang subordinate had come in. No one else had come in, although Headless Wolf didn't want to think the worst. Today's matter was indeed a little strange. Logically speaking, it was impossible for his secretary and bodyguard to disappear at the same time. He had shouted so many times. A bad feeling arose in his heart. Yes, he's dead. Wang Peng nodded resolutely. How did he die? Headless Wolf asked unwillingly. He could now see that there was definitely something wrong with this person who came in. He was killed by me, Wang Peng replied. You, who the hell are you? Headless Wolf immediately broke out in a cold sweat. As expected, there was something wrong with this person. I already said that I'm Brother Yang's subordinate. Didn't I tell you? Wang Ping said with a smile, isn't that right, Brother Yang? Okay, Wang Peng, don't mess with him. Yang Ming smiled as if he was trying to smooth things over. In fact, Yang Ming had tacitly allowed Wang Peng to come in and tease Headless Wolf. Who asked this guy to be so arrogant? Yang Ming also wanted to use Wang Peng to tease him. Okay, Brother Yang, Wang Peng smiled and stood beside Yang Ming. Brother Yang, all the people outside have been killed. And, well done. You're quite fast. Yang Ming nodded with appreciation, then looked at Headless Wolf. Didn't you say that this is your territory? Since I'm here today, don't even think about leaving. Is that right? Yang Ming. Brother Yang. Damn it. It turns out to be such a Brother Yang. Headless Wolf knew that he had been fooled by Yang Ming and Wang Peng. He had been a fool to ask Wang Peng about this and that. In the end, Wang Peng wasn't his subordinate at all. His questioning was in vain. He had made a fool of himself. Headless Wolf didn't fully believe Wang Peng's words in his heart. There were at least hundreds of gang members in the headquarters. How could Wang Peng kill all of them? However, until now, no one had entered the office, and no one had reported that there were other people besides Yang Ming and Golden Bull at the headquarters. This had to be a problem. Yang Ming, what kind of trick are you playing? Headless Wolf wasn't stupid. He knew that something was wrong, so he began to be cautious. I'm playing tricks. Sorry, I'm not playing any tricks. Yang Ming spread his hands and said, it was you who issued the challenge and asked me to come here. Then, you told me that I couldn't go back, and I couldn't see the family master of the Nanqing family. You also told me that the challenge was just a lie, and I didn't have to abide by it. Then, you asked me what kind of trick I was playing. Don't you think that your question is a little funny? This. Headless Wolf thought that he had tricked Yang Ming into coming here, so it was a sure thing to take him down. However, he didn't expect the situation to change now. You still don't believe that your men are all dead, right? Yang Ming saw that although Headless Wolf was afraid, he wasn't that frightened. He guessed his thoughts. Yang Ming's words were indeed what Headless Wolf was worried about. Although he was a little scared, he didn't believe that Yang Ming's people could destroy his headquarters. Just this person in front of him can destroy the headquarters? Isn't that a joke? Therefore, Headless Wolf thought that he didn't know how Wang Ping got in. He just took care of his secretary and bodyguard, and then bluffed here to scare him. Now, look down from the window. Yang Ming said to Headless Wolf with a smile. Headless Wolf was stunned. He turned his head back unnaturally and looked at the headquarters courtyard from the floor-to-ceiling window of the office. At first glance, he almost collapsed to the ground. In the headquarters courtyard, there was suddenly a group of armed men in black. These people were obviously not members of his gang. His gang didn't have so many guns, and they weren't so well trained. The subordinates who were supposed to be on duty in the headquarters courtyard were all gone at this moment. No one knew where they went. At this time, Headless Wolf realized that this matter was really serious. Yang Ming didn't lie to him. In this headquarters, he was probably the only one who was on his side. Where are my people? Headless Wolf asked subconsciously. But after asking this question, he felt a little funny. Yang Ming had already said that his people were dead. What was the point of asking? Headless Wolf sat on the office chair dispiritedly and looked at Yang Ming with some fear. He wasn't a bold person. The reason why he could become the boss of the Guillotine Gang was entirely because of Govasik. He was the cousin of one of Govasik's mistresses. With this relationship, he was put in an important position. As for the killing, Headless Wolf never participated in it. He just ordered his subordinates to do it. He just felt at ease being the boss of the Guillotine Gang and being Govasik's spokesperson. In his opinion, with Govasik's support, his position as the boss was stable. No one could do anything to him. Every day at the headquarters, he could eat and drink well, and he could order his subordinates around. It was very refreshing. Moreover, Headless Wolf gave himself a very flashy name, Headless Wolf. It sounded very badass. He even made up a story about how he had chopped off countless people's heads with a machete. That was why he was called Headless Wolf. This time, it was originally a very simple matter, but he didn't expect to kick an iron plate. The other party's people weren't soft-hearted at all. Not only did they destroy the entire headquarters, but the problem now was, how would they deal with him? Call Govasik and tell him that the Guillotine Gang has been destroyed by me. When will your family master come? My patience is limited. I don't have time to play with you. Yang Ming looked at Headless Wolf, whose expression was uncertain. He didn't have time to analyze what Headless Wolf was thinking and said directly to him. Chapter 1756. When Headless Wolf heard that Yang Ming only asked him to make a call, he immediately breathed a sigh of relief. As long as I follow his instructions, he won't make things difficult for me, right? Without his underlings, Headless Wolf had already lost the boldness of a boss. He was like a cautious little person, trembling in fear and not daring to have any resistance. I'll make the call now. Headless Wolf nodded. All of a sudden, he was like a completely different person from the previous boss. He wasn't meant to mingle in the underworld. He only became a boss because he had Govasik's support. Now that he had lost his underlings, his boss had become an empty shell. How could he still be arrogant? Yang Ming also noticed the huge difference between Headless Wolf before and after. Previously, he felt that Headless Wolf was not like a boss at all. Even if it was a new gang, the boss should have the temperament of a boss. However, this Headless Wolf was no different from a rascal. Therefore, Yang Ming had already guessed that this guy was just a spokesperson chosen by Govesick. Govesick wanted to run for parliament, so naturally, he would not let himself be tainted with too much underworld background to avoid being criticized. Choosing a spokesperson was the best way. As for the Guillotine Gang's members, Yang Ming was not polite. Anyway, they were a group of scumbags. Keeping them would be a scourge. Wang Peng was eliminating evil for the people. Hello, brother-in-law. Headless Wolf was so excited that he even forgot to call Wang Peng boss. He blurted out the word brother-in-law. Headless Wolf, what are you calling me? Govesick naturally did not want others to know about his relationship with Headless Wolf. Although they were in his office, Govesick still corrected him, call me boss in the future. Boss, not good, something big has happened. Headless Wolf thought to himself. It doesn't matter what I call you. Please save me quickly, boss, the Guillotine Gang has been destroyed. Everyone is dead, what? What did you say? The Guillotine Gang has been destroyed. Govesick's mind suddenly went wang, and he almost threw the phone away. He didn't doubt Headless Wolf's words because he was now at a critical moment in the councilman election. His competitors were always thinking of ways to attack him. If they found someone to destroy the Guillotine Gang at this time, Govesick would definitely not be distracted by the gang's affairs because of the election. He also couldn't stand up and show that he had a relationship with the gang. He could only swallow his pride. So, Govesick's first thought was that this was done under the orders of his competitors. Who did it? Street Racer Gang or Ambition Gang? Govesick was talking about the other two major gangs, which made up the three major gangs with the Guillotine Gang. In Govesick's opinion, it must have been one of the other two major gangs who had the strength to destroy the Guillotine Gang. It was very likely that the two major gangs had joined forces to do it. Because there were not many gangs in Las Vegas that had the ability to destroy the Guillotine Gang, Govesick immediately thought of these two gangs. No, it's not. Headless Wolf smiled bitterly, boss, it was Yang Ming's underling. What? Yang Ming. Govesick was stunned all of a sudden. Originally, he thought that it was done by his competitors, so he did not think about Yang Ming at all. In his opinion, Yang Ming going to the Guillotine Gang's headquarters was undoubtedly courting death. So, how could a person who was courting death be the person who destroyed the Guillotine Gang? Impossible. No matter how good his underling is, it is impossible for him to destroy more than 100 of your people, right? Govesick blurted out subconsciously. He also has a lot of underlings. They have already surrounded the Guillotine Gang. Headless Wolf smiled bitterly, boss, you have to save me. Yang Ming is right beside me. He asked me to call you. Fuck. Govesick couldn't help but curse. This Headless Wolf is really useless. He became a coward when something happened. I don't know what he was thinking. When he saw that Yang Ming had brought so many people, he didn't call to report in advance. Now, he only called to report after Yang Ming destroyed the headquarters. What else can I do now that things have come to this? If Headless Wolf had reported it in advance, Govesick could have made emergency arrangements and found a way to gather people from other places. Even if it was not enough and it was embarrassing, he could have just reported it to the police and let the police handle it. At the very least, the Guillotine Gang would be safe. But now, everyone was dead, and you only called me now. What else can I do? He was already disappointed in Headless Wolf. The Guillotine Gang was finished. Headless Wolf had lost any value to him. If it weren't for his sister, Govesick would have found an opportunity to replace him. But now, since he had fallen into Yang Ming's hands, he would let Yang Ming deal with him. It would save him the trouble of doing it himself. Thinking of this, Govesick said coldly, you are the leader of the Guillotine Gang. Why don't you deal with it yourself? Why are you looking for me? Okay, if there is nothing else, I will hang up. Goodbye. After Govasic finished speaking, he hung up the phone directly without waiting for Headless Wolf to say anything. Headless Wolf was a little dumbfounded when he heard the busy tone coming from the phone. He was not stupid. Govasic's attitude was already very obvious. He wanted to give up on him. He quickly dialed Govasic's phone again, but after 2 rings, it was hung up. Headless Wolf suddenly felt desperate and put down the phone helplessly. Mr. Yang. Headless Wolf hung up the phone. Mr. Yang. Govasic hung up on me. Headless Wolf said carefully. He could only rely on himself now. Mr. Yang, you know that I'm just a spokesperson who was pushed to the front. The one who has the final say is still Govasic. Please don't find trouble with me. Govasic was the one who asked me to be the leader of the guillotine gang. In fact, it has nothing to do with me. If you want to destroy the guillotine gang, it has nothing to do with me. Please let me go. If you have any grievances, go find Govasic, don't look for me. Headless Wolf didn't care about his face anymore and began to beg for mercy directly. Yang Ming also heard the conversation between Headless Wolf and Govasic on the phone. He also knew that this guy was just a puppet of Govasic. Yang Ming had no interest in killing this kind of person. Originally, Yang Ming wanted to use this matter to get Headless Wolf to call Govasic and ask him to come out to solve this matter once and for all. However, it was obvious that Govasic didn't want to care about Headless Wolf's life and death. He hung up the phone without saying a few words. This made Yang Ming's original plan have to be abandoned. Looking at Headless Wolf kneeling on the ground and begging for mercy, Yang Ming was too lazy to do anything to him. He just glanced at him disdainfully and said, "You're on your own now." After that, Yang Ming waved to Golden Bull and Wang Ping, "Let's go." Headless Wolf was a little dumbfounded. He suddenly looked at Yang Ming at a loss. "Mr. Yang. Brother, you're not going to kill me. Why? Do you want to be killed?" Yang Ming frowned. He thought, why is this Headless Wolf so hesitant? No, no. Headless Wolf quickly denied and shook his head like a rattledrum. "How can I want to be killed? I'm not a fool. I mean, you're just going to let me go like this? I say, why are you so hesitant? Do you want to die, or do you not want to die?" Yang Ming suddenly didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Of course, I don't want to die," said Headless Wolf quickly. "You don't want to die, yet you still talk so much," said Yang Ming. "If you don't want to die, then stay here obediently. I'm leaving. Goodbye." Wang Ping waved his hand at Headless Wolf. Golden Bull glanced at Headless Wolf blankly. He picked up the pistol that Headless Wolf had dropped on the ground, and then put it in Headless Wolf's hand. "I'll return it to you." Ugh! Headless Wolf watched the 3 people leave dumbfoundedly. The pistol fell to the ground again with a "paw" sound. "Ooh! I was scared to death. I didn't expect to be able to keep my life." After Headless Wolf waited for Yang Ming and the others to leave, he quickly packed his luggage and the gang's black gold, preparing to escape. He knew that even if Yang Ming let him go, Govasic might still find trouble with him. Chapter 1757. Govasic was furious when he learned that Headless Wolf had run away with the guillotine gang's funds. He listened to his subordinate's report and threw the documents in his hand to the ground. "Damn, I knew this kid was unreliable," said Govasic bitterly. He didn't even know how to do things properly. After screwing it up, he ran away without saying anything. Why is this person so fucked up? "Boss, do you think we should bring people to find this kid?" asked the subordinate carefully when he saw that the boss was angry. "Forget it." Govasic waved his hand. Although the money that Headless Wolf took away was a lot, it was just a drop in the ocean for him. Moreover, Headless Wolf's sister was his lover, and she had been serving him well. Govesick didn't want to find trouble with Headless Wolf anymore. You go out first. Headless Wolf's sister was his lover, and she had been serving him well. Yes. The man carefully withdrew from Govesick's office and closed the door behind him. Govesick fell into contemplation. Although he knew that there was a problem with Headless Wolf's ability, even if there was a problem with his ability, the boss of a gang still had so many subordinates. Even if he couldn't do it himself, his subordinates couldn't do it either. They were all taken away at once. This also explained the problem. Previously, when the family master asked him to cooperate with class to deal with Yang Ming, he didn't take it seriously at all. But now, with the development of the situation step by step, it was completely out of his control. This Yang Ming didn't seem to be a simple character. In addition to one of his subordinates who could fight, there should be a large group of people who could fight. Otherwise, how could the guillotine gang be turned upside down? It seemed that this matter was no longer something that he could decide. Govesick decided to call the family master to report it and see what the family master decided. Thinking of this, Govesick dialed the family master's phone number. At this point, Govesick couldn't hide it even if he wanted to. Initially, Govesick didn't want to tell the family master about this matter. After he had caught Yang Ming, he would report to the family master. This way, he could show that he was decisive and wise after the incident. Although Class's death was his own fault, he had caught Yang Ming in time. This could be considered as avenging Class. Not only would the family master not say anything, but he might even praise him. But now the situation was out of Govesick's control. Govesick wanted to catch Yang Ming, but he didn't manage to do so. Instead, the guillotine gang was destroyed by Yang Ming. This matter had blown up. The family master sighed. It was somewhat unreasonable. Hello. This is the Nanching family. The voice of the Nanching family's butler on the phone. Hello, butler. I am Govesick, the head of the family in Las Vegas. Is, but. Oh, it's Mr. Govesick. What's the matter? The butler had a good attitude toward the people in charge of these families' key cities. When he heard that it was Govesick, he asked with a slight smile. I'm looking for the family master. I have something important to report. Govesick said carefully. Okay, please wait a moment. The butler put down the phone and asked the family master. After getting a positive answer, he transferred the call. Not long after, the voice of the Nanching family master, Jodens, came from the phone. Govesick. What's the matter? Family master, I have something important to report to you. Govesick carefully organized his words. Of course, he would not tell the truth. He had to do his best to shirk his responsibilities, so he had already thought about how to say it before he called. It's about Class. Govesick nodded. Oh, how is it? Didn't I ask you to assist Class? Is he satisfied? Jodens asked. Family master, something happened to Class. He was killed. Govesick said sadly. What? Had he been killed? What happened? Didn't I ask you to assist him? How could he be killed on your turf? How do you operate in Las Vegas? Jodens was furious at once. This Class was introduced by Alice. It could be said that the Nanching family was able to reach this point because of Alice's support. Now that something had happened to Class, how was he going to explain it to Alice? Family master, don't be angry. Listen to me first. Govesick said carefully. Explain. Explain what? Then tell me what the hell is going on. It was obvious that Jodens was really angry. Family master, this is actually the case. Class was just using our casino to gamble with Yang Ming. I wanted to help him with something, but he refused. You know that he also brought 2 teams of people with him, so he was dismissive of my help. That's right. That's the case. Govasic explained, so I just wanted to help. Without class's permission, I didn't dare to act rashly. Well, you continue. Jodens was not very angry after listening to Govasic's words. After all, what Govasic said made sense. Class brought his own people, so it was normal for him to not let Govasic intervene. As a result, he gambled with Yang Ming in the casino with a revolver, a bullet in it, and then 1 shot for each person. Govasic described the situation to Jodens, family master. He wanted to play such an exciting game himself. When he was about to lose, he cheated. As a result, he was killed by Yang Ming's bullet. Who do you think can be blamed for this? So that's how it is. Jodens understood the reason for Class's death and was not very angry. What about Yang Ming? You didn't arrest him. AI, don't mention it. Govasic said angrily, I don't know what kind of monster Class provoked. That Yang Ming is very powerful. I thought that since Class died in my territory, I naturally couldn't let that Yang Ming go. So I asked my guillotine gang to arrest Yang Ming. As a result, I'm so pissed off. This Class really knows how to find trouble. What's wrong? Jodens was a little puzzled as he listened to Govasic's complaints. Is that Yang Ming difficult to deal with? It's not just difficult to deal with, it's simply too difficult to deal with. Govasic said with a wry smile, he wiped out my entire guillotine gang and left no one alive. This was the team that I had painstakingly built for many years. Just because of Class, it was destroyed. Family master, you have to seek justice for me. Who introduced this Class? You must find them and talk to them. It's too much of a scam. That Yang Ming is such a ruthless person. Why did we provoke him? Govasic pushed away all the responsibility for his mistake in command and put all the blame on Class, making himself look like a victim. It was because he helped Class that the guillotine gang was ruined. Sure enough, Jodens frowned when he heard Govasic's complaints. Although he was a little angry that Govasic ruined the guillotine gang, he did not vent his anger on Govasic when he thought that all this was caused by Class. Instead, he felt that Govasic was really innocent and unlucky for no reason, so he said, okay. Stop complaining. Miss Alice is behind Class. Our family relied on her to get to where it is today. It's just a small gang. If it's gone, it's gone. We can just build another one. Of course, Govasic knew that Miss Alice was behind Class. He did not really want the family master to talk to Miss Alice. He just pretended to be dissatisfied to divert the family master's attention and not put the blame on him. Hearing the family master say this, Govasic breathed a sigh of relief. Well, since the family master said so, then I can only accept my bad luck. And, that's right. Also, since the Yang Ming is so powerful, you don't have to intervene in this matter. I will report to Miss Alice, said Jodens. By the way, family master, there is another very important thing. That Yang Ming said that you have to see him within 24 hours. Otherwise, you will bear the consequences. Govasic felt that it was necessary to convey this sentence to the family master. This could also highlight how powerful and arrogant Yang Ming was. Chapter 1758. I got it, Jodens said faintly after listening, I will deal with it. Jodens listened to Govasic's retelling of Yang Ming's words, and he was very annoyed. Even if this guy has some strength and can wipe out the guillotine gang, he shouldn't be so arrogant. He actually dares to threaten me, saying that if I don't appear within 24 hours, I will bear the consequences. What the hell? After Yang Ming returned to the hotel, he found Alice's phone number from his mobile phone and dialed it directly. Young Ming did not go to school for a while, so he did not know how Alice was doing in school. However, since she entered school, she had not looked for him again, nor did she look for trouble with Chen Mengyan and others. Therefore, Young Ming was too lazy to care about her. She could do whatever she wanted. However, when Young Ming learned that the Nanching family was related to Alice, Young Ming decided to greet Alice. Because Young Ming already knew that Alice and the behind-the-scenes boss were in cahoots, then this class incident was most likely related to the behind-the-scenes boss. In this case, he simply called Alice and told her that he was going to deal with the Nanching family to disgust her. Hello. Hello. Alice looked at the unfamiliar string of numbers on the phone and picked up the phone with some doubts. This was her private phone. No one knew about it except for a few people who were more familiar with it. Alice had not seen this number before. It seemed to be the kind of number that was transferred from abroad, so Alice was a little confused. "Alice, it's me, Young Ming," said Young Ming. "Ah. Young Ming." Alice was shocked, and her hand holding the phone tightened slightly. However, after hearing Young Ming's voice, Alice breathed a sigh of relief for no reason. The inexplicable irritation from before suddenly disappeared. Since she could receive a call from Young Ming at this time, it meant that nothing had happened to Young Ming. Instead, he was alive and well. There was only one result, which was that class had failed. Alice carefully glanced at her brother who was talking to Huang Yukai not far away. Alice lowered her voice and said to Young Ming on the other side of the phone, "Wait for me. I am in class. I will find a place where I can talk." "Okay." Young Ming naturally did not know that Alice was with the behind-the-scenes boss. He did not doubt it when he heard that she was in class. Alice found that her brother and Huang Yukai did not notice her. She took calm thought. But it. Her mood was much better than before. Previously, when her brother said that he wanted class and the Nanching family to deal with Young Ming, Alice did not know why she did not want to agree to this request in her heart. But in the end, under her brother's request, she called the Nanching family and explained some things. However, after that, Alice was in an extremely irritated state. She did not know why, but she hoped that class's plan would fail. She did not want anything to happen to Young Ming. After Alice had this idea, she was also shocked by her own thoughts. Why do I have this idea? She glanced at her brother carefully and found that her brother did not notice. Alice secretly breathed a sigh of relief, but at the same time, she became even more irritated. On the one hand, she was worried about class's matter. On the other hand, she did not know what was wrong with her. She actually did not want an enemy to die. When she thought that Young Ming would die, her heart palpitated for no reason. Why? "I'm just a little busy for a while." Young Ming thought, "This chick is quite good at pretending. She sent someone to kill me, but she is not surprised to hear that I am not dead. She is even chatting with me as if nothing has happened. Hee, let's go out to eat together when you are free. I miss you, Yen Yen and Victoria." Alice couldn't help but blush when she said this. She didn't know why, but she didn't want to take Wang Xiaoyan and Victoria. She just wanted to go out with Young Ming alone. Alice was shocked by her own messy thoughts. What's wrong with me? Could it be? Alice didn't dare to think about it and shook her head. My only mission is to help my brother complete that big event. How can I think about this? Let's talk about it when we are free. Young Ming did not take it seriously. Right, I am looking for you this time because I have something to tell you. That Nanching family is said to be supported by you. Ah. Alice's heart was thumped by Young Ming's sudden words, and her face suddenly turned pale. Yeah, why did you suddenly ask this? Why did I suddenly ask this? Yang Ming sneered in his heart. Aren't you asking the obvious? You don't know what you have done, and you still ask me why. Hee, this Nanching family provoked me. I am going to destroy it. Is that okay? Yang Ming asked with a smile. Since you asked me why, then I don't need to be polite with you. Ah. Alice was stunned. She didn't expect Yang Ming to be so ruthless. He wanted to destroy the Nanching family directly. Alice suddenly felt a little embarrassed. She knew that this time, it was normal for Yang Ming to vent his anger on the Nanching family. Yang Ming must have known that she supported the Nanching family from the information behind the Nanching family. But did Yang Ming suspect her? Nanching clan. How did they provoke you? Alice hesitated for a moment, pretending that she didn't know anything, and asked carefully. Nothing, I just don't like them. Yang Ming was too lazy to explain more. He thought, anyway, you know what they did to me. I don't need to tell you so much in detail. I see. Alice didn't expect Yang Ming to answer like this. She was a little embarrassed. Yang Ming, how did they provoke you? If it's not serious, I will talk to them and let them apologize to you, okay? Or compensate them. After all, they are the family I support. Can you give me face? Apologize. Compensation. Yang Ming naturally knew that Alice would plead for the Nanching family, but Yang Ming was now considering whether to fall out with Alice and directly expose Alice's identity. However, Yang Ming thought about it again and again. He still felt that now was not a good time. He wasn't in Songjiang. If he fell out with Alice at this time, it was likely that Alice would be desperate and target his family or friends. This time, the behind-the-scenes boss had begun to make a move on his friends. Yang Ming couldn't guarantee what they would do if they were cornered. Therefore, Yang Ming hesitated. This Nanching family was just a lackey under Alice. If there was no Alice, they couldn't make any waves. It was imperative to solve the behind-the-scenes boss. However, if he didn't let the Nanching family bleed, Yang Ming was still a little unwilling. Moreover, the words had already been said to let the family master of the Nanching family come to see him 24 hours. If he didn't honor it, wouldn't Yang Ming's words become a joke? Yes, you can let him apologize and compensate. Alice said affirmatively. Well, then you let the family master of the Nanching family come to the Douglas Hotel in Las Vegas where I live within 24 hours to apologize to me. As for the compensation, we will talk about it when we meet. Yang Ming agreed with Alice's statement. Okay, I will call and teach them a lesson. Let their family master apologize to you. Alice breathed a sigh of relief. She didn't want the Nanching family to be used by Yang Ming for revenge because of this matter. After all, this was her own team, not her brother's. And she didn't want Yang Ming to lose face, so for Yang Ming's request, Alice also agreed without thinking. Don't let Yang Ming take advantage of you, said Falcon. Brother. Alice blushed and lowered her head. However, she sighed in her heart. When did I start to have suspicion and a barrier between me and my brother? And my brother can actually let me sacrifice myself for his matters. And I, in front of my brother, have started to hide it again, I. Alice sighed slightly, throwing these unpleasant thoughts. She was a little puzzled. My brother's current life is already very good. Why is he entangled in those unrealistic fame and fortune? Why is he brooding over Yang Ming? Why is he so concerned about the benefits that Dr. Benjamin promised him? Although he had not yet stood at the peak of the world, he was also one of the few people with the most power and wealth in the world. Even if he was hidden behind the scenes, he controlled a lot of big families. This sense of accomplishment was already much stronger than many people. To put it bluntly, if my brother retired from the underworld, my family could also rise quickly and become a super family. Well, I'm just saying it casually. Falcon sighed. He was a little embarrassed about his previous thoughts. Alice shook her head and said nothing. At this time, Alice's cell phone rang again. Alice said softly, "I'll take a call." Falcon nodded and said nothing. He turned and walked to Huang Yukai. Hello. I'm Alice. Alice looked at the phone that was calling. It was still her private phone, and it was a number transferred from abroad. Dear Miss Alice, I am Jodens of the Nanching family. Jodens bowed and said respectfully with a flattering look. Oh, Jodens, I was just about to call you. Alice didn't expect Jodens to call before she called. Ah. Jodens was stunned. He didn't know why Alice was calling him. The news of Class being killed shouldn't have been spread yet, right? Jodens, what's going on with Class? Alice asked in a deep voice. I heard that Yang Ming is going to trouble you. Dear Miss Alice, this is the case. Let me explain it to you slowly. Jodens heard Alice's question and quickly explained carefully, this is the case. Class wants our Nanching family to provide his casino. We don't need to intervene in other things. Jodens first shirked his responsibility and then continued, Class wants to bet with Yang Ming, so he got a revolver and put one bullet in it. They each took one shot. Jodens recounted the details of the life bet between Class and Yang Ming, but he didn't add any details. After all, there were other people present at the time. Jodens intended to be factual. In the end, Yang Ming killed Class with a bullet. Then, he wanted to avenge Class, so he sent the Guillotine Gang to deal with Yang Ming. As a result, the Guillotine Gang was easily destroyed by Yang Ming, who asked you to deal with Yang Ming. Alice was a little angry when she heard Jodens' words. I asked you to assist Class. Did I ask you to deal with Yang Ming? Class is dead. You should have reported to me immediately. How could you act on your own accord? Dear Miss Alice. Jodens was full of hatred. This Govasik didn't report to me immediately after something happened. He actually acted on his own accord to deal with Yang Ming, causing me to be scolded by Miss Alice. However, Jodens naturally couldn't say that it was his subordinate who didn't report and acted on his own accord. Wouldn't this show that he was too incompetent as a family master? Was his control of his subordinates too poor? Well, don't say those useless things. You go to Las Vegas immediately, then go to the Douglas Vast Hotel and apologize to Yang Ming. Then, fulfill any and all of his conditions. Alice said coldly, move out now. Jodens was a little dumbfounded. He didn't know why Miss Alice wanted him to apologize to Yang Ming. Didn't she want to deal with Yang Ming? If you don't want the Nanching family to disappear like this, go quickly. Alice sighed. It seems that this Jodens is still ill-informed. Do you know about the Lancer family a while ago? I know. It is said that they provoked someone, and then they were destroyed. Jodens was stunned. He didn't know why Miss Alice suddenly mentioned this. That person is Yang Ming. Alice said, I don't need to say the rest, right? It's Yang Ming. Jodens was shocked, and cold sweat broke out on his body. He naturally didn't think that Alice was lying to him. What Alice said must be true. Previously, he thought that this Yang Ming was so arrogant that he even asked him to see him within 24 hours. Otherwise, he would have to bear the consequences. At that time, he thought that Yang Ming was bragging, but now, he only felt fear. He did it. Who do you think it is? Alice said, I have already said it clearly. Whether Yang Ming can forgive you or not, it's up to you." After that, Alice didn't say anything more and hung up the phone directly. She had said what she needed to say, but since Yang Ming had promised not to pursue the Nanching family's problem, then Jodens should be able to escape the disaster. Chapter 1760. Jodens hung up the phone call with Alice. He was so scared that he was sweating profusely. He didn't expect to provoke such a powerful existence. No wonder Alice took so long to deal with this kid. "I didn't expect it to be because of this." Jodens smiled bitterly. He thought of the Lancer family, a large family which had been annihilated overnight. He had no doubt that Yang Ming could also make the Nanching family end up in the same way. He picked up the phone and dialed Govasik's number. He could only vent his resentment on his subordinate. "Govasik, you bastard, why are you so slow to answer the phone?" The phone was picked up after just 2 rings, but Jodens still felt that the other party was too slow and scolded him. "Ah, family master," I picked up very quickly. "The phone has always been in my hand." Govasik was a little stunned by the scolding. He was stunned for a moment and said quickly, "You bastard, because of you, I was scolded by Miss Alice." Jodens said angrily, "Why did you provoke Yang Ming for no reason? I asked you to assist class, so you should have just assisted him. He died, but you didn't report to me immediately. Why did you go and catch Yang Ming? Are you out of your mind?" "Ah." Govasik didn't expect Jodens to suddenly get angry because of this matter. He was a little aggrieved. "Family master, didn't I think that class was killed by Yang Ming? I was afraid that Miss Alice would pursue it, so I thought about catching Yang Ming." "Catch my ass. Do you know how the Lancer family was finished?" Govasik roared. "No. I don't know." Govasik was also stunned when he heard Jodens' question. He was somewhat inexplicable. "It was that Yang Ming who did it." Jodens said angrily, "Why did you provoke him for no reason? Didn't you see that Miss Alice had seriously found a gambling master to mess with him in other ways? Do you think that ordinary means can solve it? You are really pissing me off." "Ah. The Lancer family, was that done by Yang Ming?" Govasik was stunned, but he thought of Yang Ming's strength. He could wipe out the guillotine gang in an instant. It didn't seem difficult for him to deal with the Lancer family. Of course, it was done by him. Jodens said angrily, "If it weren't for Miss Alice's advice this time, our Nanching family would have been finished. Wait for me in Las Vegas. I will fly there now. I want to apologize to Yang Ming personally." "Ah. Ah." Jodens. With. It seemed that what Yang Ming said before, that he wanted the family master to see him within 24 hours, was not a lie. "The funny thing is that I thought it was a joke before, but now the family master is coming in person." After calling Govasik, Jodens immediately asked his butler to prepare his private jet. He wanted to fly to Las Vegas as soon as possible. Knowing that Yang Ming was the ruthless person who destroyed the Lancer family, Jodens didn't dare to neglect. He had no doubt that if he didn't appear within 24 hours, Yang Ming would directly kill the Nanching family. However, Jodens still decided to call Yang Ming before leaving. Although Yang Ming said 24 hours, several hours had passed. What if he couldn't make it within 24 hours? Although it was a private jet, there might be accidents, such as fog that could not land and so on. Jodens had already gotten Yang Ming's contact information from Govasik. Jodens sighed and dialed Yang Ming's phone number. Jodens was a little embarrassed when he thought that he, the family master of the Nanching family, actually had to lower himself to a young man other than Miss Alice. However, when he thought of Yang Ming's power, it was nothing. "Hello. Hello, is this Mr. Yang Ming?" Jodens dialed Yang Ming's room phone and asked carefully. "Who are you?" Yang Ming frowned when he heard an unfamiliar voice. He calculated slightly in his heart and guessed the identity of this person. Mr. Yang, hello. I'm the family master of the Nanqing family, Jodens. I'm really sorry for offending you before. Please forgive me. Jodens said politely. Jodens. I haven't heard of you. Yang Ming said faintly, do you think that by making a phone call, you can prove that you are the family master of the Nanqing family? Ugh, this. Jodens was a little embarrassed. Mr. Yang, I'm taking a private jet now to apologize to you. I'm just apologizing in advance. Let's talk about it when you come. Yang Ming didn't say much and hung up the phone directly. Jodens listened to the busy tone from the phone and couldn't help but smile bitterly. It seems that this Yang Ming's arrogance is not small. This time, I'm afraid that it won't end well. However, Jodens didn't dare to neglect. After the butler contacted the private jet, he hurried to the airport. Yang Ming didn't have much hatred for the Nanqing family. Since Alice had pleaded for mercy, Yang Ming just wanted to blackmail him severely. As for destroying the Nanqing family, it was still far away. Yang Ming really didn't have the leisure to do this. Moreover, the Nanqing family was just a chess piece under Alice. Whether it was destroyed or not, it didn't matter to the overall situation. Zhang Bin didn't expect Yang Ming to come back so soon. Yang Ming said that it was very serious and seemed to be going to do something big, but he returned to the hotel in less than 2 hours. Bro, let's eat together tonight. Zhang Bin pushed open the door of Yang Ming's room and said with a smile, Bro, I heard that this hotel has exciting activities at night. Let's see it tonight. And? What kind of exciting activity? Yang Ming was stunned. It's an erotic dance. The hotel's basement floor is a nightclub. There is a special program every night. Zhang Bin whispered, Bro, just the two of us tonight. How about it? Yang Ming looked at the excited Zhang Bin and sighed slightly in his heart. Although the friendship between himself and Zhang Bin hadn't changed, the thoughts between the two people were gradually drifting apart. If it were him in high school, Yang Ming thought that he would be very excited to agree to Zhang Bin's proposal. After all, at that time, he was curious about women's bodies, but now, Yang Ming really didn't have much interest in this kind of thing. He had slowly grown up and had long passed the current age. He didn't know if this was a good thing or a bad thing. Okay. Looking at the excited Zhang Bin, Yang Ming couldn't bear to dispel his interest, so he just played with him. Great. Bro, I thought you wouldn't accompany me. Zhang Bin was even more excited when he heard Yang Ming's affirmative reply. Previously, my dad and Wang Mei were there, so I was embarrassed to go. But now that I'm going with you, they won't know what I'm going to do. Yang Ming smiled and shook his head. I'll call Batterton and ask him to prepare dinner. We'll go down and eat together later. Okay, bro, that's a promise. Tonight. Zhang Bin reminded Yang Ming, don't forget. I'll go back first. I won't forget. Yang Ming laughed and scolded, you brat, hurry up and go back. After Zhang Bin left, Yang Ming called Batterton and asked him to prepare dinner. Then, he asked Batterton about the nightclub in the evening and asked Batterton to leave 2 VIP seats for him. Batterton now admired and feared Yang Ming. Although the news of the annihilation of the Guillotine Gang had not spread widely, Batterton, who always paid attention to this matter, had already learned from the grapevine that the Guillotine Gang had been annihilated. Moreover, the Guillotine Gang's boss, Headless Wolf, had also run away. Govisic was really annoyed because of this. However, Govisic's attitude now was a bit ambiguous. Yang Ming had annihilated the Guillotine Gang, but he didn't make any reaction and didn't call again. This made Batterton curious. He also understood that Govisic was afraid. He didn't dare to act rashly anymore. Chapter 1761. Govesick was very depressed. The family master actually wanted to come to Las Vegas in person, and he was obviously very dissatisfied with what he had done before. As a result, the family's support for him in the future would definitely gradually weaken. Not to mention running for Congress, it was another matter whether he could continue to work in Las Vegas or not. Thinking of this, Govesick was very disgusted with Yang Ming, but he did not dare to provoke him. Even the family master did not dare to provoke him. What ability did he have to provoke someone who even the family master did not dare to provoke? However, Govesick was not reconciled to this matter. If he could continue to stay in Las Vegas to deal with the family's affairs, then this matter would be over. If he was removed from his position by the family master, then, he would not have it easy. He would definitely not let that Yang Ming have it easy. At most, he would fight to the death. Jodens rushed to the airport in a hurry. Although he had his own private jet, he could not fly whenever he wanted to. After all, long-distance airline flights must be approved before they could fly. Otherwise, there might be a collision. This was not a joke. Family Master Jodens, according to the airport staff, there will not be any flight routes available within 4 hours, the butler said to Jodens helplessly. What? After Jodens heard this, his face suddenly became gloomy. Not within 4 hours. Yes, Family Master, this is what the aviation department said. The butler replied carefully. You didn't tell them that I wanted to use it? Jodens asked. I did, but it can't affect the normal flights. The butler said. The flights are fully booked. Although we are a big family, because it involves transnational routes, you go and negotiate again. Ask when the earliest flight can be made. Jodens snorted. He was in a very bad mood now. If he delayed for another 4 hours, he would not be able to get there within 24 hours. Thinking of this, Jodens' face could not help but be covered with a layer of gloom. Okay, I'll go now. The butler nodded quickly. He did not know what happened to the family master today. Why did he suddenly fly to Las Vegas in a hurry? What happened? Jodens hesitated. Although he knew that it was not good to disturb Yang Ming at this time, he still had to tell Yang Ming that if he could not get there within 24 hours, God knew what would happen. So, in desperation, Jodens dialed Yang Ming's phone again. After Yang Ming called Batterton, the phone in the room rang again. Yang Ming thought that it was Batterton, so he picked up the phone without thinking much. Hello? Mr. Yang, this is Jodens. Jodens didn't expect Yang Ming to pick up the phone so quickly. He was slightly stunned and said quickly. What's the matter? Yang Ming asked faintly. It's like this. Mr. Yang, my fastest flight will take off in 4 hours. I'm afraid I can't get there within 24 hours. Jodens said carefully, I want to ask for a favor. Can you give me a few hours? Yang Ming frowned. He did not expect Jodens to call for this matter. Then when can you come? Yang Ming frowned and asked. The earliest may be tomorrow. Jodens said, Mr. Yang, it's not that I don't want to go. On the contrary, I really want to get there as soon as possible. All right, let's do it tomorrow. Yang Ming said impatiently, call me when you arrive. I don't have time to listen to your nonsense now. Then Mr. Yang, if I can't get there within 24 hours, you can't take sanctions against our Nanching family, right? Jodens still asked with some concern. I say, why are you so indecisive? If I ask you to do it tomorrow, then it will be tomorrow. As for whether to take action against your family, it depends on your sincerity tomorrow. Yang Ming was impatient with Jodens' indecisiveness, but he still explained to him. Okay. Jodens finally felt relieved. Since Yang Ming said so, then he would definitely not take any action before he arrived. Mr. Yang, you can rest assured. I am very sincere. Okay, if there's nothing else, I'm hanging up. Yang Ming finished speaking and hung up the phone directly without waiting for Jodens to speak. Jodens held the phone that was hung up by Yang Ming. He sighed and shook his head slightly. When have I ever been so despised? But today, being despised by Yang Ming was normal. I still have to carefully please him. However, after getting a positive answer from Yang Ming, Jodens was not in a hurry. After all, if he couldn't do it today, he would do it tomorrow. Yang Ming also agreed. The key was his attitude tomorrow. If his attitude satisfied Yang Ming, then the matter would be over. If his attitude was not satisfied, then this time, it was probably not over yet. Thinking that all of this was caused by Govasik's presumptuous decision, Jodens' heart was extremely angry. He thought that the first thing I should do when I go to Las Vegas this time is to get rid of Govasik. Las Vegas is such an important place. There are many people waiting in line. There are so many children in the family. Why use this idiot? This time, Yang Ming just wanted to blackmail Jodens, so he didn't care much about whether Jodens could come. Tonight, he had an appointment with Zhang Bin to accompany him to the nightclub. Even if Jodens came, he probably wouldn't have time to see him. After Batterton prepared dinner, he called Yang Ming and asked when Yang Ming was going to eat. Yang Ming thought about it and called Zhang Bin, asking him to prepare and go downstairs for dinner. Yang Ming almost didn't eat anything except in the morning, and Zhang Bin and the others didn't seem to have eaten anything either. Before he left, he told Zhang Bin to be careful and not to leave the hotel if there was nothing. Don't open the door even if strangers knocked. Presumably, Zhang Bin was so cautious that he didn't even eat or order food casually. Bro, is there anything else this time? Zhang Bin quickly came to Yang Ming's room, then lowered his voice and said, if things aren't over, we won't be able to play to our heart's content at night. Basically, there's nothing else. You don't have to be so careful. Yang Ming laughed. Previously, he was afraid that the Guillotine Gang would harm Zhang Bin. However, now that the Guillotine Gang was destroyed, and the Guillotine Gang's boss, Headless Wolf, had also run away, Yang Ming's worries were naturally unnecessary. Batterton still carefully sent Yang Ming and the others into the restaurant's luxurious private room. Then, Batterton personally ordered the waiter to prepare the dishes and busily served them. Yang Ming didn't have anything to say about Batterton's humble attitude. Wang Mei was also used to it because of the previous incident, but Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifeng widened their eyes. When they learned that Batterton was the owner of the Douglas Vast Hotel, they were shocked beyond words. If Yang Ming had connections in Las Vegas, it would be reasonable for him to get the Douglas Vast Hotel's luxurious top-grade room. However, it was somewhat abnormal for the hotel's owner to serve him personally, and it seemed that he was extremely respectful to Yang Ming. What kind of identity did Yang Ming have to make the hotel's owner serve him personally? If it was in China, it would be possible. However, this was the United States, Las Vegas. How could such a situation happen? Zhang Bin's adaptability was strong. He quickly figured it out. Bro is bro. He is awesome no matter where he goes. Zhang Jifeng was surprised. The impact that Yang Ming gave him this time was too great. Although he heard from Zhang Bin at home that Yang Ming was not the same as before, and that he was doing well in Songjiang and knew people everywhere, that was only a city. Why was it still like this when he was out of the city and out of the country? However, although Zhang Jifeng was curious, he couldn't ask. He could only enjoy the feast. Shortly after eating, there was a noise at the door of the private room. Yang Ming frowned. Just as he wanted to ask Batterton what was going on, the door of the private room was pushed open. A young man walked in and shouted in English, "I want to see who is in this private room. How dare you occupy Mr. Lang Ge's private room?" Chapter 1762. Although the man who came in didn't look very fierce, he didn't look like a good person judging from his clothes and temperament. He looked like a thug or bodyguard of a rich person. As for the Mr. Lang he mentioned, he was his boss. Yang Ming didn't say anything. He just glanced at the man who came in with some disgust, but he didn't speak up. Batterton was on the side, so Yang Ming believed that he would handle this matter. Therefore, Yang Ming didn't get up. He still maintained his eating posture and didn't even look at the man who came in. As Lang Ge's direct subordinate, Slater was also a character who could do whatever he wanted in this city of Las Vegas. No matter where he went, people would be cautious and afraid. At this moment, the people in this private room didn't care about him at all when he shouted. Although some of them glanced at him in shock, some of them didn't even look at him and continued to eat. Slater was angry. "Isn't it obvious that they don't put me in their eyes? Haven't you heard of Mr. Lang? Do you want to be enemies with Mr. Lang?" Slater pointed at Yang Ming and the others and roared. "What Lang? What Slater?" Yang Ming frowned and remembered an anime called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that he watched when he was a child. There was a big boss named Lang, but this big boss had a small boss named Slater. "You know that I am Slater, yet you are still so arrogant. Who are you?" Slater became even angrier when he heard Yang Ming call out his name. He thought, "Are these foreigners doing this deliberately? They know my identity, yet they still want to go against me. What? Your name is Slater?" Yang Ming was stunned and looked at the person. "Why don't you say that you are Ninja Turtle?" "What Ninja Turtle?" Slater obviously didn't understand Yang Ming's words. However, at this time, Batterton, who was standing on the side, also ran over quickly and said to Yang Ming first, "Mr. Yang, I'm sorry. It's a misunderstanding. I will talk to Mr. Slater," Batterton said as he pulled Slater out. Slater did not see Batterton when he came in earlier. Now that he suddenly saw that the manager of the Douglas Vast Hotel, Batterton, was here, he was stunned. "Mr. Batterton. Why are you here?" "Mr. Slater, these guests were arranged by our family master. Please forgive us." Batterton smiled bitterly. "Today, I will change the room for Mr. Lang. I can't afford to offend the people in this room." Batterton obviously didn't dare to provoke Slater and Lang. Lang was the leader of the street racer gang, one of the three major gangs in the city. Although the Douglas Vast Hotel did not operate those gang-related projects, as an entertainment industry, it more or less had to rely on the protection of the local gangs. Therefore, Batterton had a good relationship with the street racer gang. Therefore, Batterton didn't want to offend Slater. Although the family master was more important, and Yang Ming could even destroy the guillotine gang, Batterton was naturally more cautious. What was the street racer gang in comparison? However, because his personal relationship with Lang was very good, he didn't want to offend Lang. After all, Yang Ming couldn't stay here forever. He had to leave eventually. Building a good relationship with Lang was also for the future. Hearing Batterton say that the guests in the room were from the Batterton family, Slater also knew that Batterton would not agree if he forced those people to give up the room. Although Lang was very powerful here, Batterton would not offend the family for him. After all, if he offended the family, he might not be able to continue as the hotel manager. Therefore, although Slater was a little unhappy after hearing Batterton's words, he couldn't say anything more. He left the room with Batterton and walked toward Lang, who was not far away. "Mr. Batterton." Lang was also very surprised to see the hotel manager, Batterton, walking with Slater. He didn't expect Batterton to suddenly appear here. He came to the Douglas Vast Hotel to eat today. He did not inform Batterton when he came. After all, although Batterton's status in Las Vegas was not as good as Lang Ge's, he was a member of the Douglas family. Therefore, Lang Ge would not act arrogantly in front of Batterton. After all, a gang leader like him was nothing in front of the Douglas family. The Douglas family was the real underworld godfather-level figure. After Lang Ge arrived, he asked the lobby manager downstairs and found that the private room he usually sat in was already occupied. He decided to send Slater to find out the background of the person in the private room. If he was not a ruthless person, he would ask them to change to another private room. However, he didn't expect Batterton to come out of the room. "Mr. Lang Ge, I'm really sorry. The people eating in this room are guests of the family master. Do you want to change rooms? I'll treat you," Batterton asked with a smile. "I see." Lang Ge frowned. He was a little upset when he heard that they were guests of the Douglas family. They were just guests of the family. They were not even family members. How could they occupy a room? However, Lang Ge also knew that Batterton must be in a difficult position. He wouldn't offend the people in the private room, so Lang Ge had no choice but to give Batterton face. "Okay, then let's change to another private room." Batterton breathed a sigh of relief. However, when he saw that Lang Ge didn't have much of a smile on his face, he knew that this matter had probably upset him. However, Batterton was a little resentful in his heart. "I kindly asked you to change rooms, but you don't want to. You really don't know how the guillotine gang ended. If you knew, would you still be like this? You would probably lie on the ground and lick Yang Ming's toes, right?" Batterton thought evilly in his heart. This Lang Ge had inherited his father's business. He had become the boss of the street racer gang at a young age. Naturally, he was a little arrogant and domineering. He didn't say much because of Batterton's age. However, after entering the room, he frowned and asked Slater, "Who are the people in the room?" "They are all foreigners. An old man with 3 children." Slater regarded Yang Ming and the others as children. "Humph. This time, I will give them face because of Batterton. The next time I meet them, it won't be so good." Lang Ge sneered, "I still have business today, so I won't bother with them." "Yeah, Mr. Lang Ge, it's more important to pick up girls. Let's not bother with those people first." Slater quickly complimented. "Is your information correct? That kid really brought his girlfriend here?" Lang Ge listened to Slater's words and asked worriedly. "Don't worry. Mr. Lang Ge, that chick's classmate has been hooked up with by the people I sent. This time, they came to Las Vegas together. I heard that there's an acrobatic performance at the Douglas Hotel's nightclub tonight. That chick is very interested in acrobatics. They'll definitely come," Slater said proudly. "And, that's good. What's the background of that guy? Have you investigated clearly?" Lang Ge snorted coldly, "Damn, he stole my woman and even crashed my car. Let's see how he dies." "I have investigated clearly. He seems to be a child of a big family in China. But it doesn't matter. Their influence can't reach here. This is our territory. Why should we be afraid of him?" Slater said disdainfully. Lang Ge was relieved after hearing this. In his opinion, as long as that kid didn't have a background in Europe and America, it was fine. As for China, it was far away, so he didn't care much. Damn, he actually beat me in a car race in my street racer gang's territory and made me lose face. Today, I want him to know who is in charge here," Lang Ge said fiercely. In fact, this was the case. Lang Ge's current identity was the leader of the street racer gang who followed in his father's footsteps. However, he had another identity, which was a university student. In school, he had taken a fancy to a girl, the one that Slater mentioned before. However, after he failed in his pursuit, he was provoked by her boyfriend. Chapter 1763. In fact, it was said to be a provocation, but it was just a normal defense. However, as the young master of the street racer gang, Lang-gu naturally couldn't swallow this insult, so he took the initiative to propose a race with the boy. Whoever lost would give up the pursuit of the girl in the future. Lang-gu didn't expect that the boy would actually agree. Isn't it courting death to race with the young master of the street racer gang? Just when Lang Ji's friend thought that Lang-gu would definitely win, an accident happened. Not only did the boy win the race, but he also forced Lang-gu to crash his car. Although Lang-gu himself was fine, his beloved Ferrari was turned into scrap iron. This made Lang-gu angry out of humiliation, but he also secretly made up his mind to teach the boy a lesson. When Lang-gu found out that the boy actually brought the girl to Las Vegas for a trip, he couldn't help but exclaim that it was really a blessing from the heavens. Isn't this Las Vegas my territory? Since he is here, then don't even think about leaving. Hee, that's right, Mr. Lang-gu. That kid probably really thinks that you are an ordinary student. He still doesn't know that your real identity is the young master of the street racer gang in Las Vegas. Slater said respectfully. Is everything ready? Lang-gu snorted and asked. It's all arranged, Mr. Lang-gu. You can rest assured that the waiter on duty today has been replaced by our own people. Slater smiled and said, the replacement has been found. Well, it's better not to have any problems. After all, this is Batterton's territory. We also have to give him some face. Lang-gu nodded. After Batterton settled Lang-gu and Slater, he breathed a sigh of relief. He wiped the sweat on his forehead and quickly ran to Yang Ming's private room. As soon as he entered the door, he explained embarrassedly, Mr. Yang Ming, I'm sorry to have frightened you. It's not to the extent of being frightened. Yang Ming waved his hand faintly. A lunatic came in and shouted a few words. Naturally, he wouldn't do anything to Yang Ming. Yang Ming simply didn't put the person in his eyes, so he didn't even bother to argue with him. Yang Ming found that his anger was getting smaller and smaller. If it was in the past, Yang Ming would have directly grabbed his collar and thrown him out. Now, he just treated him as a clown and didn't care at all. Yes, in Mr. Yang's eyes, that person is nothing at all. Batterton nodded quickly. Who are those Slater and Lang-gu people? What do they do? Yang Ming's. Mr. Yang, this Lang-gu is the young master of the street racer gang, one of the 3 major gangs in the city. Ugh, it should be the 2 major gangs now. Batterton suddenly realized his faulty wording and quickly corrected himself, but the former boss of the street racer gang, who is Lang Ji's father, is basically not in charge anymore. So, this Lang-gu is now the person in charge of the street racer gang. Mr. Yang, you also know that gangs like the street racer gang are mainly based on underground racing and gambling, so young people can better integrate into the gang. Oh, it turns out that he is the follower of the street racer gang's boss. No wonder he is so arrogant. Yang Ming was not surprised when he heard Batterton's explanation. You have a good relationship with them. This. Mr. Yang, don't misunderstand. Our relationship can only be said to be okay. Batterton was afraid that Yang Ming would misunderstand, so he hurriedly explained, you know that I don't have any underworld backing me up in Las Vegas. I run the entertainment industry, so it is inevitable that I will cross paths with the underworld. I must find a gang that can shelter our hotel, so I am very close to the street racer gang. Oh, in that case, I won't touch them for your sake, Yang Ming nodded, but if they don't know what's good for them, then don't blame me for being rude. Don't worry, Mr. Yang. They should leave after eating. They won't be an eyesore here. Batterton was a little happy when he heard that Yang Ming gave him face. Okay, you can go out. You don't need to stay here. We will talk for a while. Yang Ming saw that Batterton was still standing aside, ready to serve him at any time, so he waved his hand, indicating that he could leave. Okay, Mr. Yang. If you need anything, just call me at any time. Batterton heard Yang Ming's eviction order in his tone, so he quickly bowed and left the private room. Zhang Bin and the others were very shocked that Yang Ming didn't put a local underworld boss in his eyes. However, from Batterton's words, it seemed that the three major local gangs had become two major gangs. Could the disappearing gang be related to Yang Ming? Zhang Bin and the others were shocked, and the association went out to do something before Yang Ming. What kind of power did Yang Ming have now? However, the three of them were smart enough not to ask. Some things were enough to be known in their hearts. It would be inappropriate to ask. Since Yang Ming didn't say it, they couldn't ask more. However, the shock in Zhang Jifang's eyes became stronger, and now there was a trace of admiration. After dinner, Zhang Bin said that he had something to do with Yang Ming. Zhang Jifang and Wang Mei naturally didn't ask much. They watched Zhang Bin and Yang Ming leave happily. In their opinion, the more contact Zhang Bin had with Yang Ming, the better. Yang Ming was so powerful. As long as he could help Zhang Bin, then Zhang Bin wouldn't have to worry about food and clothing for the rest of his life. Bro, are we going to the nightclub downstairs now? After knowing that Yang Ming had reserved 2 VIP seats, Zhang Bin was very excited. As a matter of fact, the VIP seats were very close to the front. When there was a performance on stage, they would naturally see it the clearest. Now? Isn't it a little early? Yang Ming looked at the time. It's not too early, right? Zhang Bin also looked at the time. It was indeed a little early. If they went down now, the nightclub probably wouldn't open yet. So, Zhang Bin had to say, bro, do you want to drink something? Let's go. Yang Ming nodded. He had already sent Batterton away and didn't let him follow him. So, Yang Ming and Zhang Bin were still very free now. They didn't have Batterton's respect, so they seemed a little casual. The two came to the water bar on the first floor of the hotel and found a quiet place. Yang Ming ordered a glass of juice, and Zhang Bin ordered a glass of wine. Kid, how did you learn to drink such an elegant thing? Yang Ming glared at Zhang Bin. Hee hee. Bro, I'm just doing as the Romans do. Zhang Bin smiled and said, besides, I used to drink it when I was in school. At that time, I was flirting with girls on the internet. Before doing things at night, I would go to a Western restaurant to flirt. I often drank this. Yang Ming was slightly stunned. After listening to Zhang Bin, Yang Ming also remembered his high school days. He suddenly felt nostalgic. He also remembered that Zhang Bin liked to talk about one-night stands on the internet at that time. Once, when he bragged to Yang Ming, Chen Mengyan happened to hear it. Thinking about it later, when he saw a video of Zhou Jiejia at Zhang Bin's house, Yang Ming couldn't help but shake his head and smile bitterly. He reminisced about that time. Unknowingly, that time was very far away from him. Now that he thought about it, it felt like a lifetime ago. It seemed like a long time ago, but if he really counted it seriously, it was only 1 year. 1 year could actually make some people and some things change so dramatically. If he didn't save the old man and didn't get the special ability, then what would his life be like now? Without the special ability, there would be no stone gambling in Yunnan. He couldn't get to know Lu Weishan, and he couldn't get his first bucket of gold. If he didn't go to Hong Kong, he wouldn't have an intersection with Sister Xiaoqing, and he wouldn't have met Wang Xiaoyan's men again. Bro, what's wrong with you? Seeing that Yang Ming's face showed a fascinated look, Zhang Bin asked, baffled. Ha! I thought of my high school life. Yang Ming sighed. Although he had gained some things now, he had also lost a lot of things. At that time, it was really carefree. Yeah. Zhang Bin nodded. Bro, I don't know when you started to show your power. You are getting more and more powerful. Until now, I can't believe it. You have given me too many surprises. It's not just you. Sometimes, even I wonder why there are so many problems around me. Yang Ming smiled bitterly and returned to his normal expression. It could be seen that the relationship between the two was good. Right, my name is Chen Zhe. This is my girlfriend, Tao Linfang. Yang Ming. Yang Ming's eyes were very accurate. He looked at people's eyes and knew whether they were lying. Yang Ming could now conclude that the identities of these two people were students. Although Yang Ming was not sure whether they had any background behind them, it did not affect Yang Ming's normal communication with them. Zhang Bin. Seeing that Yang Ming reported his name, Zhang Bin was naturally not to be outdone. Nice to meet you. Chen Zhe nodded. But both of you don't look old. Are you not in school anymore? Of course, we are in school, but we came with our elders. Yang Ming explained. It turned out to be like this. I was wondering. Chen Zhe suddenly realized. At this time, the waiter brought the things that Chen Zhe and Tao Linfang ordered. He smiled and said in English, both of you, please enjoy. Okay, thank you. Chen Zhe smiled and took the things sent by the waiter. He smiled apologetically to Yang Ming and then drank with Tao Linfang. Chen Zhe and Tao Linfang seemed to really come to drink. Maybe they were thirsty. They quickly finished the drinks in front of them, then stood up and prepared to leave. Mr. Yang, Mr. Zhang, we are leaving first. It was a pleasure to meet you. Chen Zhe pulled Tao Linfang and waved to Yang Ming and Zhang Bin. Us too. We will meet again if we are fated. Yang Ming also waved his hand. When Chen Zhe and Tao Linfang left, Yang Ming and Zhang Bin continued to reminisce about their youth. Bro, these two people look a little imposing. Zhang Bin looked at the backs of Chen Zhe and Tao Linfang and said, they seem to be the second generation of a rich family or an official. They have an aristocratic temperament. I didn't expect that. Zhang Bin, you have a good eye for people now. Zhang Bin's words made Yang Ming a little surprised. Good, you kid. Now you have a good training. I have been in contact with these people often. Naturally, I can distinguish clearly. Zhang Bin smiled and said, the jewelry company often has such customers. Yang Ming was not so surprised when he heard Zhang Bin's words. After all, the jewelry company was the first shop in Songjiang City to propose the concept of custom-made jewelry. It had been on the high-end route and was very popular with those powerful people. It was not surprising that Zhang Bin could usually come into contact with these people. These two people should be from a good family, but did you notice? The clothes on the two of them are not too valuable. They are all very ordinary brands. It may be a famous brand in China, but here, it is something that ordinary people wear. Yang Ming said. I didn't notice this. Zhang Bin was stunned. Bro, you are still the one who observes carefully. Perhaps their family education is stricter. This is hard to say. Yang Ming smiled and sat for a while. He looked at the time. But let's not care about this. The nightclub should be opening soon, right? Shall we go down now? Okay. Zhang Bin was immediately happy when he heard that they were going to the nightclub. Yang Ming called the waiter and handed him the room card to let him pay the bill. After taking Yang Ming's room card, the waiter was shocked. This was a luxury suite on the top floor. The The significance of this room card was extraordinary. This was a room that was not open to the public. Even if you had the money, you couldn't stay here. Those who could stay here were either the Douglas family's higher-ups or the family's guests. The waiter respectfully swiped the card and carefully returned the room card to Yang Ming. He asked Yang Ming if he needed anything else, then he carefully left. "Bro, your room card is really awesome." After the waiter took it, his attitude changed. Zhang Bin said with some envy. "Don't tell me you don't have one." Yang Ming stared at him angrily. "Ah. Yes. I have one too." Zhang Bin just remembered that his room card was also like this. He was a little embarrassed. When they came to the nightclub on the first floor of the hotel, Yang Ming handed the room card to the waiter at the door. The waiter's face changed and said seriously, "Mr. Yang, right? The boss has already instructed me to bring you to the VIP seats." Yang Ming and Zhang Bin followed behind the waiter and walked into the nightclub. However, before they took 2 steps, a girl stumbled out of the nightclub and ran towards the door. In the nightclub, someone shouted, "Go, you go first. Leave here." Hearing this voice, Yang Ming was slightly stunned. When he saw the girl running over, Yang Ming couldn't help but frown. The voice just now was Chen Zai, who they met in the bar, and the girl who ran out was his girlfriend, Tao Lin Fong. "Slater. You go and catch that chick, Tao Lin Fong. I'll deal with this kid." Another voice rang out from the nightclub, "Fuck, Chen Zai, are you tired of living? Tao Lin Fong likes me and flirts with me. What does it have to do with you?" "Yes." Slater accepted the order and chased after Tao Lin Fong with large strides. Although Tao Lin Fong had a frightened expression on her face, her movements were very slow. She stumbled as if she was drunk. "Bro, didn't she just?" Zhang Bin also saw Tao Lin Fong and was a little surprised. "I know. But we have seen the person chasing her." Yang Ming looked at Slater, who was getting closer and closer, and sneered. Chapter 1765. Tao Lin Fong stumbled in the direction of the nightclub's entrance, and Slater quickly chased after her. When the waiter on the side saw Slater's appearance, he couldn't help but shrink his head and pretend that he didn't see it. These people obviously knew who Slater was, so they didn't dare to stop his behavior. Otherwise, the security in the nightclub would have taken action already. However, now everyone knew that Slater was Lang Ji's subordinate, and Lang Guo was the young master of the street racer gang. The security of their own hotel usually depended on the street racer gang's people to maintain. How would these security guards dare to interfere with the matters of the young master of the street racer gang? "Ah! Mr. Ming, help!" Tao Lin Fong suddenly saw Yang Ming standing at the entrance of the nightclub at this time. She hesitated, but stopped. She lowered her head and didn't say anything. Instead, she continued to run to the door. Yang Ming was slightly stunned. He wondered why Tao Lin Fong only spoke halfway, but then he understood. Tao Lin Fong obviously knew the identity of Lang Guo and Slater. She wanted to ask for his help, but perhaps she was worried about the identity of these two people. Yang Ming and Zhang Bin just came to participate in the jewelry exhibition. They couldn't compete with these two people, so Tao Lin Fong didn't want Yang Ming and Zhang Bin to be involved in this trouble. If she asked them to help, not only would they not be able to help, but it would also bring them a lot of trouble. Yang Ming didn't want to be a busybody before, but seeing Tao Lin Fong like this, Yang Ming had a good impression of her. He felt that this person was still very good. Seeing that they were both Chinese, it was worth helping. Thinking of this, Yang Ming took a step forward slightly and directly blocked in front of Tao Lin Fong. He said to her, "Okay, let me handle it." Slater was chasing Tao Lin Fong. When he was about to catch up, he didn't expect someone to suddenly stand in front of Tao Linfang and seem to want to stand up for her. He was a little annoyed. In this Las Vegas, who dares to go against the street racer gang? Does he want to die? That kid, get out of my way. This is none of your business. If you don't want to die, stand aside. Slater roared. Slater, we meet again. Yang Ming looked at Slater with a playful expression. By the way, I was eating just now and didn't have time to talk to you. I didn't expect you to be so arrogant. Why are you yelling here? Where's Lang Gu? Slater was stunned after listening to Yang Ming's words, but he recognized him after taking a closer look. Isn't this guy the one who snatched Mr. Lang Ji's private room during the meal just now? At that time, this brat had a calm look on his face. He didn't even raise his head as he ate. He didn't give him any face at all. Recalling the scene at that time, Slater felt a burst of anger. It's you. I'm warning you, mind your own business. Previously, since you were Batterton's guest, I gave him face and didn't touch you. But now, if you dare to intervene, then no one's face will work. Mr. Yang, this is none of your business. You should leave. Tao Linfang didn't expect Yang Ming to stand up for her. In her opinion, even the security guard was a coward in this kind of thing. Others wouldn't meddle in other people's business, let alone a person they just met. However, Yang Ming stood up. Although Yang Ming's sense of justice moved Tao Linfang, she didn't want to implicate Yang Ming. This matter had nothing to do with Yang Ming. She didn't want to involve Yang Ming because of her matter. It's nothing, Yang Ming smiled faintly. It's just a street racer gang. I don't put them in my eyes. Oh. Who is it? You're quite arrogant, aren't you? Just a street racer gang. On the other side, Lang Gu had already dealt with Chen Zhe. For Lang Gu, who had been fighting in the underworld since childhood, Chen Zhe was really not his opponent. After a few hits, Chen Zhe was beaten until he saw stars. His face was full of blood as he fell to the ground. After dealing with Chen Zhe, Lang Gu also came over to chase Tao Linfang with Slater. However, he suddenly heard that someone was dismissive of the street racer gang. As the young master of the street racer gang, how could Lang Gu tolerate it? Mr. Lang Gu. It was this kid in the private room just now. He used the fact that he was Batterton's guest and spoke rudely to you. Said Slater. Now, he wants to stand up for this woman. Oh. Stand up. Ha 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 ha. Lang Gu suddenly laughed when he heard Slater's words. Kid, I don't care what your identity is in the Douglas family, but you have to know that this is Las Vegas, not your place. This is my territory. I, Lang Gu, have the final say. So, don't stand up for yourself. It's better to keep a low profile. Otherwise, I don't care if you are a member of the Douglas family. I will make you crawl out. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not a member of the Douglas family. I'm sorry to disappoint you. Yang Ming smiled and shrugged. And, I'll say it again. It's just a street racer gang. I still don't care. Humph. Kid, it seems that you don't feel the pain of speaking while standing. Lang Gu ridiculed Yang Ming's ignorance. Do you know the status of the street racer gang in Las Vegas? Let me tell you, it's one of the 3 major gangs. It seems that you don't know anything about Las Vegas. Do you think that we are like the other street racer gangs and only know how to get stuck in traffic? I don't know if the 3 major gangs you mentioned include the Guillotine Gang, but I'm afraid it has become 2 major gangs now. Yang Ming said faintly, if you continue to nag endlessly with me here, I don't mind turning it into a major gang. What do you mean? Lang Gu was stunned. He didn't understand what Yang Ming was saying. Nothing. I just want you to get out of here quickly. Otherwise, I will make your street racer gang history. Yang Ming was too lazy to explain to Lang Gu, so he warned him directly. Lang Gu still didn't quite understand Yang Ming's words, but he immediately laughed. You have such a big tone, huh? Even if you are very powerful in other places, you are in the wrong place. This is Las Vegas City. Mr. Lang Gu, let's not talk nonsense with this kid. Slater frowned. I think this kid is just wasting time. Let's hurry up and catch that chick. Otherwise, it won't be good if the police or other problems arise. When Lang Gu heard Slater say this, he nodded in agreement. He also felt that Yang Ming said a lot of inexplicable words. He guessed that Yang Ming was just stalling for time and waiting for reinforcements, so he didn't talk nonsense with Yang Ming. He directly went to catch Tao Linfong with Slater. Tao Linfong originally wanted to run away, but when she saw that Chen Zhe was beaten up by Lang Gu, she had already run to Chen Zhe's side and helped him wipe the blood on his face with a handkerchief. She was shocked and frightened, and was somewhat at a loss. At this time, Chen Zhe also heard Lang Gu and Slater's words. When he saw that they were going to catch Tao Linfong again, he quickly broke away from Tao Linfong's hand on his forehead. Linfong, run quickly. They are here to catch you. I'm fine here. But I can't leave you here. They will beat you up. Tao Linfong was a little hesitant. Yo. Still affectionate. Lang Gu sneered. However, don't be delusional. None of you can run away. Tao Linfong, you didn't expect this, right? If you knew this would happen, why did you do it in the first place? If you obey me, I will also let go of this gigolo. Lang Gu thought about how he, the young master of the street racer gang, was very angry when he was rejected by Tao Linfong. Now that there was a chance to vent his anger, of course, he wouldn't let it go. Lang Gu, you dare to touch Tao Linfong. I won't let you go. Although Chen Zhe's face was full of blood, when he heard that Lang Gu was going to harm Tao Linfong, he endured the pain and got up from the ground. He bared his fangs and brandished his claws towards Lang Gu. Idiot! Lang Gu kicked Chen Zhe and made him fall down. You won't let me go even if you are like this. If you are so capable, why don't you let me go now? Weakling! Let me tell you, this is how the world is. The weak are prey to the strong. Don't have any illusions. Today, your girlfriend is mine. What can you do? You are a coward. You were born to be stepped on by me. You. Chen Zhe was knocked to the ground and panted heavily. Although he was angry, he didn't have the strength to get up. Just as Chen Zhe and Tao Linfong were in complete despair, a cold voice rang out. Chapter 1766. You're right. It's the law of the jungle. Yang Ming grabbed Lang Ji's collar from behind and lifted him up. A weakling like you is born to be stepped on by me. Who? Let me go. Lang Gu was shocked and quickly turned his head. However, he saw that Yang Ming had lifted him up with one hand. Lang Gu said angrily, Kid, what are you doing? Nothing. I told you before to get lost quickly. You didn't get lost. Now, you don't have the chance to get lost. Yang Ming said with a smile, Don't tell me you have Alzheimer's disease. How did you get amnesia so quickly? Let go of Mr. Lang Gu. What are you doing? Slater was shocked when he saw that Lang Gu was lifted up by Yang Ming. He subconsciously took out his gun and pointed it at Yang Ming. Kid, let go of Mr. Lang Gu if you don't want to die. Shoot. Yang Ming nodded at Slit without a care in the world. You, don't force me. Slater originally took out his gun to scare Yang Ming. Although he was a member of the mafia and had killed people before, he still didn't dare to kill in public like this. After all, the police were not to be trifled with. If he shot and killed in front of so many people, he wouldn't even think about it. He would definitely be arrested and sent to prison in a short while. I'm not forcing you. If you want to shoot, go ahead. Yang Ming smiled and no longer cared about Slater. Instead, he said to Lang Gu, "How is it? Do you remember what I said before?" "Humph." Lang Gu snorted coldly and suddenly reached out to grab Yang Ming. Although he was caught in the air by Yang Ming, it didn't hinder the movements of his hands. He wanted to give Yang Ming a surprise attack. In his opinion, Yang Ming was just a little stronger and didn't have any other abilities. Therefore, he relied on his rich fighting experience and thought that he could easily deal with Yang Ming. "What are you doing?" When Yang Ming saw that Lang Gu actually dared to launch a sneak attack, he grabbed his collar and threw him out fiercely. He directly smashed Lang Gu on the side of the bar. Hong, the bar shelf fell down and smashed Lang Ji's body. It directly smashed a big wound on his forehead, and blood immediately flowed out. The nearby security guards originally wanted to stop Yang Ming, but after the waiter who served Yang Ming lowered his head and said a few words to the security captain immediately retreated. Living in the VIP room on the top floor. This was a privilege that only the boss's family could enjoy. The security captain quickly instructed his subordinates to just watch and not stick their heads out. In his opinion, Lang Gu could not be provoked, but he could not provoke Yang Ming either. He could only watch the immortals fight from the side. "You dare to hit me?" Lang Ji's head was full of blood. He got up from the ground and pointed at Yang Ming and roared. Slater was also struggling in his heart. Should he shoot or not? If he shot, he would be finished. He would have to spend most of his life in prison. If he didn't shoot, then Lang Gu would probably be beaten up. Therefore, Slater hesitated. Although he was Lang Ji's follower, he couldn't ruin his own future for Lang Gu. "Don't move. If you move again, I will shoot." Slater held the pistol unthreatened. "Do as you wish. Don't keep repeating the same sentence." Yang Ming glanced at Slater and ignored him. Yang Ming also saw that this person was tough on the outside but weak on the inside. However, even if he really wanted to shoot, Yang Ming didn't care. Yang Ming had been paying attention to Slater from the corner of his eyes. Slater's face was stagnant. He really didn't dare to shoot here. This was taking his own future as a joke. After hesitating, Slater put down the pistol. Then, he took out his phone and dialed a number. "Mr. Lang Gu, wait a moment. I will call someone immediately." Slater said. "You call my dad and ask him to bring people here to surround this place." Lang Gu roared, "Damn, so what if it's the Douglas family? I will tear this place down today." "Yes, Mr. Lang Gu." Slater quickly dialed the phone. After waiting for a while, he said carefully, "Is this the old leader?" "I am Slater. I have something important to tell you." "Give me the phone. I will say it myself." Lang Gu saw Slater dilly-dallying and suddenly became impatient. He directly reached out his hand and asked Slater for the phone. "Okay, Mr. Lang Gu." Slater was worried about how to describe it. When he heard Lang Gu asking for the phone, he quickly passed the phone to Lang Gu. "Dad, I was beaten up by someone. At the Douglas Vast Hotel." Lang Gu said directly, "Bring people here and surround this place. The other party is a guest of the Douglas family." "What? What happened?" "Lang Gu, can you explain it clearly?" Lang Ji's father didn't know what was going on after hearing Lang Ji's words. "I was chasing a woman here. Someone meddled in my business and even beat me up. My head is broken. Quickly bring people to catch him. Lang Gu explained. Oh. Who is so bold? How dare they touch my son? Humph. Do they want to die? Lang Ji's father said, You wait. I will bring people over now. Okay. Then I will wait for you here. I am at the nightclub on the first floor of the Douglas Vast Hotel. Lang Gu was happy after hearing his father's words and quickly said. After hanging up the phone, Lang Gu pointed at Yang Ming and said, You brat, don't leave if you have the guts. See how I will deal with you later. Lang Gu knew that he was not Yang Ming's opponent, so he could only force him with words and hope that he would wait here for his father to send people over. Of course, I won't leave, Yang Ming said faintly. Since he was involved in this matter, he naturally had to take care of it until the end. Yang Ming still had a good impression of Chen Zhe and Tao Linfang, so Yang Ming decided to help them. Chapter 1767. N. Lang Gu Sr. was stunned. He didn't quite understand Batterton's words. Batterton, what are you talking about? What do you mean? Lang Gu Sr. subconsciously took Batterton's words as a form of protection for Yang Ming. It was Batterton's threat to him. So, Lang Gu Sr. was a little indignant. Isn't he just a guest of the Douglas family? He isn't even a member of the Douglas family. Even if the Douglas family is a big family in LO Town, they can't control the affairs of Las Vegas, right? Am I not the one who has the final say here? So, when he heard Batterton's words, Lang Gu Sr.'s tone became a little gloomy. Lang Gu Sr., I don't mean anything. I'm just reminding you because of our friendship. Batterton curled his lips and thought, Who do you think you are? If I weren't familiar with you, I wouldn't have bothered to say this to you. Batterton, what do you mean by this? What do you mean by because of our friendship? Lang Gu Sr. sneered and said, I'm just reminding you because of our friendship. Before I touch your family's guest, I'll inform you first. If it were someone else, I wouldn't have bothered to inform them and would have done it directly. Yes, that's right. That's why I'm warning you first. If it were someone else, I wouldn't have bothered to inform them. Batterton said, Anyway, I've already told you. If you still insist on going, then I don't care. Anyway, I'm telling you, whoever goes will die. Since you said so, then we can't talk anymore. Goodbye. Lang Gu Sr. put down the phone with a bang and scolded, What the hell? Threatening me. Let's wait and see. When Lang Gu Sr. hung up the phone, Batterton put down the phone gently. A disdainful smile flashed across his mouth. Idiot, I've already told you. Whoever goes will die. If you want to go, then go. How can you rush to die? You're really stupid. After Lang Gu Sr. called Batterton, he began to summon his team. Soon, the 4 platinum fighters of the street racer gang gathered in Lang Gu Sr.'s office. My son, who is your young master, was beaten up by the Douglas family. Follow me to get revenge. Once we're there, there's no need to ask for details. Just beat them to death and avenge my son. Just don't kill him. Lang Gu Sr. ordered his opponent fiercely. Yes. Leader. We got it. Beat him to death, as long as you don't kill him. The 4 platinum fighters said. These 4 platinum fighters were Sharp Knife, Victorious Self, Old Crafty and Ear Root. These 4 were the best fighters in the street racer gang. Each of them could take care of more than 10 people. This time, because Lang Ji's son had been beaten up, Lang Gu Sr. called all 4 of them over to give the Douglas family an unforgettable lesson. As for the others, Lang Gu Sr. didn't bother to bring them along. They were just a group of gang members. They could join in the fun and scare people, but only these 4 people were enough to deal with the real masters. In a battle between experts, the motley crew was of no use. So, the old leader of the street racer gang took the 4 platinum fighters and went to the Douglas Vast Hotel arrogantly to get revenge. In his opinion, who could compete with these 4 people? It had to be said that Langus Sr. was worthy of being the old leader of the street racer gang. He drove a Rolls-Royce at the speed of a Ferrari, shocking everyone on the road. Top luxury cars like the Rolls-Royce were generally more stable. It was rare for someone to drive like that. Today, Langus Sr. drove personally for his son. After the last drift, he parked the car in front of the Douglas Vast Hotel. Many waiters knew the once glorious old leader of the street racer gang, Langus Sr. Although Langus Sr. was now running a legitimate car business, no one could forget the fact that he was once the leader of the street racer gang. Clear the place, clear the place. The street racer gang is doing business here. Those who have nothing to do with it, leave quickly. Otherwise, you will bear the consequences. Sharp Knife, one of the 4 platinum fighters, shouted before they arrived at the nightclub. The people in the nightclub had seen Yang Ming and Lang Guo fighting at the door before. Some people recognized Lang Ji's identity, so they were carefully discussing the direction of the development of the matter. At this time, when they suddenly heard that the street racer gang was here, they all lowered their heads in unison and thought of leaving. Especially when the street racer gang said that those who didn't leave would bear the consequences. These people stood up obediently and walked to the entrance of the nightclub. No one was stupid. Looking at the situation, it was obvious that the street racer gang was here to get revenge. What if the people who stayed here were treated as accomplices? The waiters in the nightclub also withdrew from the nightclub with the security team under Old Cat's aggressive gaze. The manager of the security department had just called Mr. Batterton, but Batterton told him not to intervene. Since Batterton had said so, he simply left with them. Soon, in the nightclub, apart from Yang Ming, Zhang Bin, Chen Zhe and Tao Linfang, there were only Lang Guo, Slater, Langus Sr. and the 4 platinum fighters. Chen Zhe, take her and leave first. We don't need you here. Yang Ming glanced at Chen Zhe, whose head was covered in blood, and said to him. But, although Chen Zhe was afraid, he didn't want to leave alone. This matter was caused by him and Tao Linfang. Yang Ming was only helping them, so he was surrounded by the street racer gang. It was indeed unkind to leave Yang Ming here alone at this time. Let's go. Yang Ming frowned. With Chen Zhe here, he couldn't let go. Only after Chen Zhe left, Yang Ming could directly kill without any scruples. Then, Mr. Yang, you should be careful. Chen Zhe was shocked by Yang Ming's sharp gaze. He nodded quickly and pulled Tao Linfang to walk out. When they walked to the door, Lang Guo didn't say anything to stop them. In his opinion, as long as Yang Ming was dealt with, Chen Zhe and Tao Linfang would be at his mercy at any time. There was no need to keep them here. Moreover, if they stayed, it would be difficult to kill Yang Ming. There would be no witnesses. Even if Yang Ming was killed, they would have no evidence. If it really didn't work, it was easy to hand over a few street racer gang members. Langus Sr. also had the same idea, so he didn't stop Chen Zhe and the others. When everyone left, he raised his head and stared at Yang Ming fiercely. Did you hit my son? Yes. Yang Ming nodded. Are you here to apologize for your son? Langus Sr. was stunned after hearing Yang Ming's words, but then he laughed. Ha 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 ha, this is the funniest joke I have ever heard. Apologize. Are you having a fever? I'm here to deal with you. Kid, you are about to die. Don't you know what's going on? After the people in the nightclub left, Batterton walked down and said to the security captain behind him, close the passageway and elevator to the basement 1 floor. Don't open them without my permission. Yes. The security captain nodded quickly. After Batterton went down, he closed the passageway and elevator to the basement 1 floor. The people who went up would not know the situation below. Batterton looked at Langus Sr. from a distance and shook his head helplessly. He thought, I did remind you, but you still came. Then, you can't blame others. I can't help you if you want to die. Langus Sr. also saw Batterton in the distance from the corner of his eyes. He couldn't help but snort coldly. He thought, this old guy. I don't know what he is doing here. Does he want to plead? But it's useless to plead. I won't give anyone face this time. Do you mean that you and your 4 lousy underlings can kill me? Yang Ming looked at Langus Sr. as if he was looking at a fool. They are not lousy underlings. They are my 4 platinum fighters. Langus Sr. corrected, you don't have to be so eloquent. Do you know who you have provoked? Who? Isn't it just the street racer gang? Aren't you? Asked Yang Ming. Street racer gang. Humph, you still know that it's the street racer gang. Don't you know that the street racer gang is one of the 3 major gangs in Las Vegas? Asked Langus Sr. I don't know. I only know that there are 2 major gangs left. Yang Ming shrugged. Chapter 1768. Langus Sr. was slightly stunned. He thought that Yang Ming was cursing that his street racer gang was going to perish and that there were only 2 gangs left. He sneered and said, Kid, you're courting death. You guys go and beat him up. It doesn't matter if you die this time. Yes. Leader. The 4 gold medal fighters had long been eager to give it a try, especially Brother Air Jen, who had been holding back for a long time. He had recently been cultivating immortality, and had already cultivated to a very high level, so in his opinion, Yang Ming was not worth mentioning at all. Yang Ming looked at the 4 gold medal fighters who surrounded him sarcastically. His hands shook slightly, and 4 flying needles shot out silently into the acupoints of the 4 people. The 4 of them suddenly stopped on the spot as if they were frozen. What are you doing? Hurry up and do it. Langus Sr. was a little annoyed when he saw that his 4 men suddenly stopped moving. Previously, they promised to beat him to death. Why did they suddenly stop moving? What are they thinking? The 4 of them still stood motionless as if they didn't hear Langus Sr.'s words. What's the matter with you guys? Langus Sr. was a little anxious. Looking at the sarcastic smile on Yang Ming's face in front of him, Langus Sr. felt very embarrassed. They are dead, Yang Ming smiled faintly. Langus Sr. frowned and reached out to push his men. As a result, Old Crafty fell straight to the ground under the push. Langus Sr. was shocked and hurriedly asked, What's wrong with you? Before he could check what happened to Old Shifty Cat, the other 3 people also fell straight to the ground. Langus Sr. hurriedly went to check their breathing, but he was horrified to find that the 4 of them were dead. They were completely dead. Langus Sr. was anxious all of a sudden. Cold sweat broke out on his forehead instantly. What the hell is going on? Why did my 4 gold medal fighters fall to the ground silently in an instant? Is there a plague? Langus Sr. also knew that this idea was impossible. However, this Yang Ming in front of him clearly didn't even make a move, yet his 4 subordinates had already fallen to the ground. What kind of situation was this? Langu and Slater were happy to see Langus Sr. bring the 4 platinum fighters to seek revenge. They were prepared to see Yang Ming being beaten to a pulp. However, before Yang Ming could find his teeth, the 4 men died inexplicably. The scariest thing in the world was not simply death, but the unknown. If the 4 platinum fighters were killed by Yang Ming, Langus Sr. and Langus Sr. wouldn't do anything other than being scared and shocked. However, these 4 people had died for no reason. This was the reason for his fear. Although he didn't know how these 4 people died, Langus Sr. wasn't stupid. He knew that the cause of death of these 4 people was definitely related to Yang Ming. Otherwise, Yang Ming wouldn't have said so calmly that these 4 people were dead. Since Yang Ming could kill these 4 people silently, wouldn't it be a matter of an instant for him to die? Thinking of this, Langus Sr. was really scared. He really didn't know what to do in this situation where he could die in an instant without any warning. He stared blankly at the 4 men who had followed him for most of his life dying just like that. For a moment, Langus Sr. was filled with emotions. There was regret, unwillingness, but the biggest emotion was fear. Previously, he wanted to beat Yang Ming up so badly that he had to look for his teeth on the ground to avenge his son. But now, he didn't have such thoughts at all. He was terrified. In his opinion, Yang Ming was a more terrifying existence than a biological weapon. Lang Gu and Slater were also stunned at this moment. They couldn't imagine that the 4 platinum fighters died at the same time in an instant. And Yang Ming didn't seem to have done anything at all. In the next moment, deep fear also invaded their hearts. Previously, Yang Ming was merciful. Now they understood the meaning of Yang Ming's words. Yang Ming said that they were courting death. At that time, they thought it was just a joke, but now it seemed that it wasn't a joke at all. You don't have to look anymore. I killed them, Yang Ming said faintly. No matter how much you look, they are still dead. They can't live anymore. In addition to Langus Sr., Lang Gu, and Slater, Zhang Bin and Batterton were also shocked. Although Zhang Bin had seen Yang Ming kill people with bullets in the casino before, the shock was far less than the impact now. Previously, Yang Ming used bullets to kill people. Although it required a lot of skill when throwing the bullets, it could be done with practice. Especially when Yang Ming performed a flying throw at the school's art festival, they didn't find it strange that Yang Ming could throw bullets to kill people. But now, Yang Ming didn't throw bullets at all, nor did he do anything. These 4 people fell to the ground without any warning. There were no wounds on their bodies. Is this the legendary killing with thoughts? Or killing with eyes? Although Zhang Bin knew Yang Ming relatively well, he also felt that the boss was the boss at this time. He had reached a height that he could only look up to. Batterton was even more so. Although he was shocked that Yang Ming annihilated the Guillotine Gang, Batterton secretly felt lucky when he saw Yang Ming silently kill 4 platinum fighters of the Street Racer Gang. Fortunately, he didn't defend Yang Ming. Otherwise, Yang Ming could kill him with just one look. But this Langus Sr. is really something. I have already told him before that whoever touches Yang Ming will die if they encounter him. This guy didn't listen. Now, all 4 of his capable men are dead. Let's see if he can still be arrogant in the future. The Street Racer Gang will probably not be able to recover from this setback in the future. The Guillotine Gang was annihilated, and the 4 platinum fighters of the Street Racer Gang were killed. Only the Aspiration Gang was left. At that time, the Aspiration Gang would become the #1 gang in Las Vegas as long as they made a move. Langus Sr. stared blankly at his 4 dead men on the ground, speechless. You didn't just bring 4 people, right? Yang Ming looked at Langus Sr. and asked mockingly. 4. Langus Sr. raised his head in surprise. I thought you brought all the people of the Street Racer Gang. I was thinking of dealing with them together to avoid trouble, said Yang Ming. It's like the Guillotine Gang. I still have to go there personally. It's so troublesome. Why don't you call your men and ask them to come over and die together? Langus Sr. keenly caught a few words in Yang Ming's words, which were Guillotine Gang. Yang Ming mentioned the Guillotine Gang. Did Yang Ming also annihilate the Guillotine Gang? And he personally annihilated them. Batterton looked at his old buddy's absent-minded look and shook his head helplessly. If I knew this would happen, why did I do it in the first place? What was the use of regretting what he had been thinking when he called her? Langus Sr., the guillotine gang was completely annihilated a few hours ago. Batterton sighed and explained to Langus Sr., it was done by Mr. Yang. What? The guillotine gang was completely annihilated. Impossible. Impossible. How could so many people be annihilated? Although Langus Sr. vaguely guessed something, he just didn't want to believe this fact. Because this fact was simply too shocking. I don't believe it. Impossible. You must be lying to me. As Langus Sr. said, he took out his mobile phone, dialed a number, and asked a few questions in a low voice. When he got an anxious and affirmative answer, Langus Sr.'s mobile phone fell to the ground with a paw sound. Langus Sr. sat on the ground dejectedly. His eyes were full of regret, fear, and despair. He called and asked a well-informed person in the underworld. When he got the news that the guillotine gang was completely annihilated because they had offended someone a few hours ago, Langus Sr. believed it. He also believed Batterton's previous words. This person, whoever provoked him, would die. There was no need to fantasize about it. Chapter 1769. Batterton, why didn't you tell me in advance? Why didn't you tell me? Langus Sr. prostrated himself on the ground in despair and shouted at Batterton at the top of his lungs, Old man, you are not honest. Why didn't you tell me that the guillotine gang was destroyed? Why didn't you tell me? Humph. I had already told you kindly before. I didn't ask you to come because we are old friends. I told you that whoever comes will die. You don't believe me. Who can you blame? I think I have done my best. I have said what I should say. All of this is because you didn't listen to my advice. Batterton said unhappily after being blamed by Langus Sr., you thought I was protecting him. Now you see it, right? Who exactly am I protecting? This. Langus Sr. thought about it carefully. Indeed, Batterton had said these words at the time, but he was angry at that time. He didn't believe Batterton's words at all. He completely regarded Batterton's words as protecting Yang Ming, but he didn't expect that Batterton was actually protecting him. AI. Langus Sr. sighed. Why didn't he listen to his advice? Obviously, Batterton was being kind, but he treated it as malice. Can't I blame him? He had only himself to blame for all of this. But, why didn't you tell me more clearly? You just said that he was very powerful and destroyed the guillotine gang. Then, I wouldn't have come even if you beat me to death. Langus Sr. smiled bitterly. Langus Sr. also knew in his heart that even if Batterton said that the guillotine gang was destroyed, he might not believe it. However, he could call to verify it later, so he wouldn't go so hastily. Humph. What is Mr. Yang's identity? Even our family master is in awe of him. How can I casually talk about him behind his back? Batterton said, Old man, do you really not understand, or are you pretending not to understand? Do some things need to be said so clearly for people at our level? Isn't a hint enough? You are usually quite smart. Why are you so reckless this time? The onlooker can't see clearly. The onlooker can't see clearly. Langus Sr. regretted, I was angry at that time. How would I know that things would turn out like this? Sigh. I regret what I did. Langus Sr. had no intention of rebelling against Yang Ming now. To be able to kill off 4 of his subordinates without a sound, what kind of strength was this? Old friend, you'd better not regret and complain. The trouble in front of you hasn't been solved yet. Batterton reminded, you have angered Mr. Yang. I can't plead for you. You can only pray for yourself. Only then did Langus Sr. remember that he still had a super big problem to solve. Yang Ming looked at him with a sneer. It's useless for me to complain and regret, Mr. Yang, I'm old and blind. Please let me go, let me go. Langus Sr. wanted to ask Yang Ming to let him and Langu go, but after thinking about it, Yang Ming's ruthlessness in destroying the guillotine gang and killing his 4 platinum fighters just now without blinking his eyes made it seem that there was no need to plead. Yang Ming would not agree. Since he was here, he probably couldn't go back. Thinking of this, Langus Sr. sighed and continued, please let the other members of the Street Racer gang go. The Street Racer gang is my life's work. Even if I'm gone, I hope it will continue. You mean, you and your son's lives can be exchanged for the fate of the Street Racer gang? Asked Yang Ming with a cold smile. Langus Sr. was stunned. Only then did he remember that his fate was completely in the hands of Yang Ming. He had no right to bargain with him. He was already a lamb waiting to be slaughtered by Yang Ming. How could a slaughtered lamb be qualified to discuss conditions with the slaughterer? Thinking of this, Langus Sr. was a little desperate. Is this still not enough? Originally, this matter had nothing to do with me. It was your son who was too arrogant. Yang Ming glanced at Langu and said, Langus Sr., right? Don't say that I didn't give you a chance. Cripple your son yourself, and you can take him away. Yang Ming had no enmity with the Street Racer gang. The Street Racer gang was different from the Guillotine gang. The Guillotine gang had crossed Yang Ming's bottom line, so Yang Ming wanted to make an example out of the Nanqing family. This Street Racer gang, to put it bluntly, just bullied his 2 new friends. Yang Ming was too lazy to do anything to them. As long as Langu lost the ability to continue harassing Tao Linfang, Yang Ming would let him go. The shock this time was enough to deter the father and son, and they wouldn't dare to do anything rash in the future. The reason why Yang Ming wasted 4 flying needles to kill the 4 platinum fighters was to give Langu and his son a visual shock so that they would fear him from the bottom of their hearts. This was much more effective than killing the 4 of them directly. Although Langus Sr. and Langus Sr. would be shocked and afraid of his strength if he killed the platinum fighters by himself, they would definitely not be like now where they had no thoughts of resistance. They didn't even dare to think about it. If he only did it himself, they would definitely not dare to have any thoughts about him now. However, they would definitely think of ways to retaliate against him, Batterton, Chen Zhe, Tao Linfang, and the others. They would only think that he could only fight a little. As long as they sent more and more powerful people, they would be able to deal with him. The human wave tactic was nothing to the Street Racer gang who had a lot of gang members. But now, he had killed 4 people in an instant without even doing anything. This way, Langus Sr. would no longer think about revenge because no matter how many people came, they would just die. It was meaningless. Cripple. Langus Sr. was stunned, then he immediately understood what Yang Ming meant by cripple. His son caused trouble because he pursued Yang Ming's friend. Yang Ming's cripple naturally meant that his son would lose the opportunity to continue pursuing girls, although Langus Sr. felt that it was very painful to let his son have no descendants. It was much better than both father and son losing their lives. Fortunately, he was still vigorous despite his old age. He had not lost some functions in certain aspects. At most, he could go back and have another son to carry on the family line. Although his son had become a cripple, he could still be the leader of the Street Racer gang. With him taking care of his younger brother's growth, his bloodline would not be cut off. Mr. Yang, is this true? Langus Sr. raised his head and looked at Yang Ming. This was his only hope. He didn't want Yang Ming to lie to him. I naturally mean what I say, Yang Ming said, hurry up and do it. Don't wait for me to do it. Otherwise, you will lose your lives. Okay. Mr. Yang, I'll do it. I'll do it now. Langgu Sr. gritted his teeth and looked at his son. Langgu, bear with it. Langgu naturally heard Yang Ming's words. Although he was afraid that he would become a cripple in the future and couldn't pursue girls, it was better than losing his life, right? Although he couldn't chase girls and lost a lot of fun in life, there were other fun things to enjoy. Eating, drinking, racing, gambling, and so on were very satisfying. Dad, it's okay. You can do it. Langgu also nodded. He was already surprised that Yang Ming could let him go. Langgu was overjoyed that a person like Yang Ming, who could kill people in an instant, could finally let go of his mouth. Langgu Sr. pondered for a moment, lifted his foot and kicked Lang Ji's crotch. Ouch! Langgu screamed and almost fainted. He covered his lower body and began to roll on the ground with sweat all over his forehead. Mr. Yang, is this okay? After Langgu Sr. finished all this, he didn't look at his son who was in pain on the ground. Instead, he looked up and asked Yang Ming. Ha! Yang Ming smiled faintly and glanced at Langgu who was rolling on the ground. Don't pretend. It's nothing at all. It's just swollen. Yang Ming's words shocked Langgu Sr. His face changed instantly. Although his previous kick to his son looked fierce, he actually reserved his strength. He also used his strength skillfully and didn't kick his son's fatal spot directly. When Langgu Sr. was young, he was also a master of fighting. He wanted to make a gesture. The kick looked serious, but he actually reserved some leeway. He thought that Yang Ming wouldn't be able to see through it. However, he didn't expect Yang Ming to see through it. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.